Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet next to me. I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way.
Hey everyone, good to see you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Great to see you. Welcome in. We have a wonderful show lined up for you tonight. Tonight with us, we have a few wonderful people from the community here. I think I'm going to start out with John Denicola. That's our man here, John Denicola. How you doing, brother?
What's up, John?
Hey guys, how you doing? Hello everyone, how you doing?
Good to see you.
All
Thanks
right.
for making it.
All right, so everybody knows John for the most part on our show, but we got a couple of new people in here. Gary, we have Gary Reed.
Good evening, guys.
Gary Reed, thehunterradio.com.
Yeah.
Thunder Country.
Our country 92.1.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks for
Yeah,
being
you got to
here,
get
Gary.
that promotion, Gary. You got to shout yourself out there, man. Give yourself a little self promotion.
I don't know what I was thinking.
All right. We also have with us the Honorable Mayor Duane. Again, I don't want to butcher your last name, so I'm sorry. It's Mayor Duane. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, Duane Gurley. How's it going, everyone?
Good to see you. Thanks for making it, man. We appreciate you coming up here.
And we also have a long time friend here, also a local resident of Southern Colorado. We have Miss Lori in the house today.
She's not from here.
Oh, that's right. She's not from here.
I'm outside.
In the chat, we got John, Tracy, Corey, and Gray, dude. Good to see you guys. Appreciate you guys being here. So, yeah, we've got Mayor Duane up here tonight because there's been a lot of questions going around, a lot of statements made. We just wanted to be able to clear some of that stuff up, getting into it, see what we can come up with. I'm sure some of it's misunderstandings, right? Like myself, like I've been giving you a hard time, if you don't like what they say, run away, so, and that's kind of how I took it, the way that it was said. Now I haven't seen you act on that. Like I was saying to you in the chat the other day, Mr. Mayor, is that I haven't seen you act on that, and Gary and I have had the conversation, like Robert's rules does say you can recess. I understand that part. But the part is like, maybe if it's heated enough or something, to be able to calm down, but not to stop a redress or something. So I think there's just some misunderstandings in many different areas, and probably easiest just to get the questions out the best we can, and we all answer the best we can, I suppose,
Yeah, and thanks for the opportunity. It's a little bit harder to get everything that you want to say said in the right way when you're trying to type it out. So yeah, it's always easier to be able to have some sort of communication this way, so we can kind of get the full picture of what it is we're trying to say without people reading between the lines, in between comments, but yeah, I think just to jump right into that piece, I know that had come up, and that was something that Gary had talked about
Yes.
on his show. So I think to jump on that one, what it is I think I was talking about in the code of conduct and the meeting rules that we're going to be adopting this upcoming week. I think, I guess, just to start on that, we in our municipal code, we're a statutory city. I think we can talk about that too, because I heard something in one of the last videos that I think there was a little confusion on what a statutory city is, so we can get over to that one too. But statutory city, we fall under the Colorado State Constitution, and then it's real, I guess, general, and then from there, all the cities and towns are able to add on and build on and kind of set their municipal code to best fit their community. So right now, ours, the way it says it is that council will adopt rules and procedures for meetings and code of conduct, and that's all it says. And as far as I know, I moved back to town probably about, I guess, almost 6 years ago, and have been following along since. And now I've been a part of council since 21. There's never been anything, nothing formal, nothing on paper. If there has been some historical knowledge from some of the past leaders, they've that's kind of moved on with them. So what this is just putting it on paper. It's clear instructions and just a playbook, a guidebook for me, for this council, and the councils. I guess until somebody decides to destroy that document or do something differently, but at least any council can come in, pick that up on their first day, and say, okay, now at least I can start here on half-ass knowing what I'm doing, and doing it the right way. And I think that's something that we've talked about, or I've heard you all talk about, is a lot of these municipalities. You have a lot of people that are joining with no sense or education on what it all takes. Everything that's involved in passing an ordinance, all those things like that. So a lot of people are learning as they go. A lot of us are supposed to be relying on our city attorneys to kind of hold our hand through that.
Yeah.
And I think what
we're finding they're worthless in most places. Like they don't advise, especially unless asked directly, right? Like, so they'll just sit there and they'll sit back and watch people do ordinances the wrong way. Aguilar, I mean, they were paying that lawyer just a few months of him being there. They paid him $7,000, and he never once informed them how to do an ordinance properly. So it happens everywhere. We're seeing it all over. And it's sad that there's just not better to choose from, I guess. A lot of times we even see the lawyers be recycled. Walsenburg, as an example, they've recycled their city attorney. Now they're back to one that resigned years ago.
Yeah, not only, just to jump in on that, Gary, do you know who, just off the top of your head, who Walsenburg's city attorney is?
Dan Hyatt.
Hyatt?
Yeah, Dan Hyatt. Dan Hyatt, just in case anybody else doesn't know, used to be our city manager.
And our city attorney also. I mean, that's how we got to be city manager.
We've had some dealings.
He was also the attorney out here, and he decided to resign when we called him up for breakfast one day.
Yeah, we've had some dealings with him, some good long dealings. And he's a smart man. I'll give him that. But again, what is allowed to happen unless directly asked, it seems. So yeah, I'm with you on that, because we're seeing it not just in Rocky Ford, but in many towns. And there's a learning curve, and it's wild to me, because like this, none of this is new. Nothing is new, be it Roberts, Bob's. None of that's new. It's been around forever. But again, people just don't have the knowledge. A lot of boards have changed recently, and it hasn't passed on, like you say. So I agree with you on many of those things, Duane.
What's up, Johnny?
Yeah, and I do. I see a question over on YouTube in the chat, and I think I have to do my disclaimer. Yeah, because I'm up for any tough questions for sure. But I'll just do my disclaimer. I'm joining you all tonight as Duane Gurley, and I am the mayor of the city of Rocky Ford. But I'm going to be expressing my views and opinions, and not going to be speaking on behalf of the council or the city in this capacity. So you're getting me.
All right.
Then we appreciate it.
Well, let me ask you this. Does that mean that you won't answer any questions when it comes to core requests or anything like that?
No, I can. I think it's more along the sense of I can't say that the city is going to do anything. I can't speak on any action because that action would have to come as an approval of council.
That's understandable.
So, I can talk as far as, what I know, and then of course my opinions. But yeah,
Okay.
I can't speak from a place of, if someone says, hey, can we get this pothole fixed over on 10th Street? That would have to be done by a majority of council, and I can't speak on that.
He's not all powerful like Aguilar's mayor.
I understand.
So we can respect that. Yeah. So here's the question from the chat there on the screen for you, brother. And I'm sure there's gonna be lots of questions in chat. I mean, I don't know who everyone is in chat or anything like that, but the show is put out there for anybody to join and come in and ask their questions. So never know what.
Yeah, so I'd say my answer to that, my hard answer to that is no, I don't approve of any law enforcement violating anybody's constitutional rights. But I guess just to speak directly to that one, I'm not sure who that patrol officer is or I don't have any context of.
I'm guessing
what's going on.
They definitely know you because they waxed you in the court in La Junta. So that whoever that is definitely knows you. Just saying.
Hold on, John Doe. Let's get technical here. Did you take Duane to court or did you take Rocky Ford to court? Like, who is the we waxed you? Who is the you?
I don't know the story. That's what I'm getting at. I don't know who it is, and I don't know the story.
I don't know the story behind his background.
Duane. No, I don't know.
This is an inside joke, apparently, on our show
Maybe
that we don't know
about. Yeah.
All right. Well, what I don't know. What did you want to speak more onto that, Duane, or did you want to just what do you want to do with this?
On the comment?
Yeah, on the comment. Did you want to speak more about it, or was that your answer to that?
Oh, so, well, I guess I'll just say, John Doe, you're saying I assume you mean the city of Rocky Ford. So yeah, if you did, sounds like I'm going to take you in court. We waxed you in court. I'm going to take that as we waxed the floor with you in court. So that was city of Rocky Ford. That might have happened pre-2020, pre-2019. I moved back in 2018. I've been following along since. So I haven't heard anything about that.
Well, supposedly this is about a dispensary that was put out of business. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Yeah, but he was talking. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. He was talking about an illegal search on Interstate or Highway 50, right? So I guess my question is, what were they searching for?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that puts that timeline. If he's saying he had a dispensary in Rocky, then that would have been between I guess 2017 and 2019. Because I think we passed it in 2016. I think they finally started popping open in around 2017.
2010.
For the state patrol.
Wow, that's
holy cow.
Quite some time ago.
He holds a grudge.
I guess that one for sure it wasn't me because I was in the Colorado Department of Corrections in 2010. So
right. John Doe, I appreciate the comments and whatnot and so forth, but we're trying to stick to current events and what's going on currently with the town, and again, we're trying to include the person that's here that was, that's not included back in 2010. So let's try and stick to current events here, as we were trying to do. Again, Rocky Ford is trying to reform a lot of stuff, just took on Bob's rules, changing around his stuff. I noticed that you guys have two public comment sections, one at the beginning, one at the end. Can you tell us why you do that? Because again, you even said it yourself in the meeting, not everybody does it. Where did you get the idea to get that put in there? Because I think that's a great idea.
That's been going on since before me. I like it. I appreciate it. I think, any opportunity people have to talk. And, one of the things that I see is they come in and we'll start the meeting. We'll kind of go through the formalities. And then we'll have that first public comment. And, I've went and spoke in those forums as a citizen before getting involved in everything. I know that there's, a lot of nerve and jitters, and I can feel that sometimes people might come in and just not, they get scared to step up when we're doing that public comment. And then you go through the meeting and, maybe they hear someone else stand up and speak, or through the meeting, something really kind of lights that fire for them. And then second public comment comes up and they jump right up and they're like, okay, I'm ready to do this. So, I think it's great. Gary, I know you had said that you feel like we're going in this direction of starting to take away people's freedom of speech and reduce public comment. And yeah, I'm going to tell you, you're absolutely wrong on that. That's
good.
Just check on that, because as long as I'm involved, we will never do anything to limit anyone's speech or getting the citizens involved. I mean, that's what I've been about since I came back home.
Yeah, and that was going back to that to the comment on the pausing the meeting, as far as not liking what's being said, the guy talking, you pause the meeting. Now I totally understand if that guy's belligerent. I've watched it. I hope I haven't been that way.
I'm one of those guys sometimes. So hey, and I get it. And sometimes I would rather see them call a recess. Why? Because cooler heads will prevail.
Right.
So if it's that heated, call recess. Let's take 10 minutes. Let's go outside, have a cig, get some fresh air, whatever. Get our nerves right. Come back in and try again. But the part that got me is like, I heard you say we will allow that person to leave the meeting, and then their time will start back up when we resume. So again,
that's one question.
If I have issue with somebody, we're not fighting. It's just words.
Well, that's a question that I had, because I was confused about that. Was that for the public to leave, if like you guys felt like maybe the guy was going to go off on a cursing rant or whatever, and you feel like you give them the respect to walk out and not have to listen to it, or does that go for council members as well, Duane?
Yeah, so the big thing around that, it's like you said, just to kind of use that as a tool to diffuse the situation. We've heard, I've never used that. I think I even said in the same sentence when I was talking about it, I hope I never have to use that during my time.
Exactly.
It's just something that I learned. We go to these different trainings. That one I think actually comes from CIRSA. And it was, I guess, how to handle conflicts in the meetings. There's a lot of I guess protest and just different things that happen. There's been a lot of, I guess, one of the examples that we hear or we learned, if someone comes in and they are just, saying the most, absolute racist, homophobic, whatever it is, anti-Semitic, whatever those things are, they have the floor. And whatever the time limit is, that's not set in stone. That's not set in any statute. So that's kind of up to every city to adopt. And it's as far as public comment, that's at each city, town board's discretion. The only thing to it is what you do for one person, you have to do for the others. So that's why it's just easier to put it down on paper as a policy. So that way it's not up to the mayor, at their discretion, because then the mayor can get themselves in trouble if they allow this person, 3 minutes, allow this one 5 minutes, cut someone off, so that's why those policies are put in place. But going back to, I guess, the example, so if someone's doing that, they have the floor, they have that 3 minutes. What a mayor could do is call recess, gavel, call recess, say, for example, hey, we all hear the nature of this public comment. If anyone would like to excuse themselves from this room, from this space, so they don't have to hear that, we're going to give everyone an opportunity to do that. And what it is, I guess it's for the people who are not comfortable hearing what's being said to leave. So I guess that second part of your question is, is that for the public? Is that for council? That could be for anybody. I think the big thing is the council is a board that the public is coming to, provide that redress to, or to provide that grievance to. And it's their duty and responsibility to hear that, whether they like it or not. So it would be in, their best interest in them serving their duty as to the citizens, to sit there and listen to it. However, if a council member did get up and walk out and say that they don't want to hear that, I mean, there's nothing legal there. There's no requirements. It's just, I mean, you're not serving your people. You're not doing, I guess, what you took an oath to do.
Right.
So
yeah, that's
just kind of quickly, the Bob's rules, of course, part of that is that the citizen also has to abide by, obviously there shouldn't be any profanity, stuff like that. I mean, it just should be as long as you can get your point across. And of course you're not pointing a finger at the mayor or a council member and calling them dirt bags and scumbags and whatever else. So I can totally get that there are going to be a time when that meeting should probably be paused. I just worry that, and this is just me. I'm worrying that you do it once and then it's going to be easier, and then pretty soon, whether it's whether you're still in office, Duane, or somebody else, if this is kind of precedent, then sooner or later down the road, if maybe they just don't like what you're talking about. Maybe they don't. And maybe you're totally within your bounds as a citizen, but they don't like what you're talking about. They can kick you out, or pause the meeting, or whatever.
I'll just use an example since I've already done it. I'm gonna come up there and I'm gonna talk trash about Nicole's shit that she needs to clean up, right? Because she brought herself into that light. So that'd be one thing.
Right.
I'd be up there talking about. She's not gonna want to hear about. So how does that work out? It's not that I even have to be profane or vulgar or anything to that effect.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I guess everyone has a choice. So it would be that person's choice whether they were gonna maybe take what I would look at as the easy way and the wrong way out, and getting up and walking off.
You have to lead by example, right? And that's why I'm picking on her about it. I'm picking on her about it because she opened her mouth in that meeting and put herself in that position for me to criticize her. You know what I mean? I haven't criticized nobody else about any of that, but I haven't heard nobody else criticizing the citizens about what they're doing. That her stuff isn't prestige shape, okay? So she has no reason calling out a citizen on how their stuff is. That's just my opinion. But if I brought my opinion to her and she chose to run away, again, I understand what you're saying. Like that's in the leadership. It just shows her qualities all the way across the board, I guess, right? Like,
Right.
I'm just using her as an example because, like I say, I've already talked about that out there. It's online, you know.
Just to piggyback off of that, because if we go back about 3 or 4 meetings, there was an incident with a former mayor where Nicole went off and started yelling at the former mayor. Now, I know that Duane had said something about that woman and her husband and how they had treated some kids on that street. And I understand what you're saying. I understand where you're coming from with that aspect. But when you're sitting up on that council, you have to separate those two items. Whether you like them or not, they have the ability to say what they want to say. The fact that Nicole started berating the former mayor, the fact that you started going at that guy, I'm sorry, but that's not a good look for either one of you, especially when it was during their public comment.
So can I jump in?
I'll back you. I'll back you up there, or I'm gonna back you up on what you're saying there. I get it with the former mayor. That was public comment. It should have been total listening. There shouldn't have been any feedback there. On the other one,
that lady left in tears. Let's note that as well.
She didn't. No, let's note that she didn't. I've seen that come up a couple things, and I think it was Kuko who might have said that. She didn't leave in tears. I mean, we were sitting there. If it sounded like her voice was shaky, it's because that's what she sounds like.
She definitely did have a shaky voice.
You could listen to some old council meetings from 2022, and you can just, compare them right there. Now on the other one, the other guy whose name I won't say, because he's filed a written letter of intent to sue. That's why I see him popping up in different places. I'm not going to interact or say his name, because if he has anything to say now, it needs to go through his attorney. But when that person was speaking, it was during the agenda item. So he was speaking during the agenda item. If someone's speaking at that point, they can provide, testimony for or testimony against whatever the action item is. And that's when there is some bilateral engagement.
Right.
So it's different than public comment. And you could even watch that meeting, because he tried to stand up during public comment. And I asked him, are you going to be speaking on this agenda item? He said, yes. I said, all right, I'll call you up when we get to that. So at that point, we can ask questions, and the questions were valid to get the information to make a decision.
You're disrespectful to the public, period. Tom addressed something and Nicole started laughing because she's out of control, and you didn't do anything as the mayor because you like the angst. Otherwise, you would have shut her down. You would have shut her down.
I didn't do anything, Lori, because I know the person. I know this community. Like I told you, come to the community. Come to the community. Listen to what the people in our community are saying. The person that you're talking about, do a little Google search. Check Walsenburg. Check Walsenburg's active code violations. Check the city of Lahana. This person owns properties all around Southeast Colorado. This person goes to all the council meetings around Colorado. Anytime we're trying to improve the community, anything that affects this person's property or business, you're going to hear this person complaining. This person isn't a good neighbor, isn't a good community member. And I will never, I'm always going to speak up for the community members. I'm always going to speak up for the community members.
Okay, so you're a convicted felon. You did 12 years. You did something pretty egregious to get locked down. And now you're telling people how to act because you're a great community member. You're a joke. You are a joke. What happened in September of 2023 when you had your domestic?
Like me. Yeah.
2023, domestic violence.
it was
2023, and you're still on
it
council?
was dismissed.
You're disgraced.
That's why when John tried to pull records, it was sealed. And John, you are incorrect on that. It was sealed by the DA and the judge on that side. It wasn't nothing to do with Rocky. So that order came from the DA and the judge. So that was dismissed. And
Well, let me explain something to you, Duane. I'm sorry to cut you off. Okay, I did the request. Originally, we were given not only the body cameras they were going to give us the police reports. Okay, so that was the first thing. They were willing to give us those things. Okay.
I bet they were.
Secondly, listen. I just want to explain.
They just wanted money.
What I did.
They wanted money.
What I did. They wanted $83, and I would have got everything from that night. Okay. Secondly, I called Otero. I called La Junta. I called also Bent County, both the municipal courts and the combined courts. There is no record of that, right? Even if it was sealed, those courts would have said that case is sealed. You can't have access to it. They didn't do that. They told me it didn't exist. So that's where I think the issue comes in. Listen, you said to look into everything, right? And that's what we were doing. We were looking into everything. We got a report that this happened. It wasn't to turn around and make you look bad. It was to find out what actually happened.
What report did you get though? I mean, you can do a Google search and find. I mean, it was on the news, and it's not like it was too hard to find.
But the thing
I would say I bet the Rocky Ford Police Department would have been very happy to share any of that information. Because
no, they weren't. That's the thing.
And when they went through their own process, they probably learned, okay, this was dismissed. We cannot share it. But before that, when you had probably originally requested, they were probably like, oh yeah, let's share that.
They offered to share it, and what they wanted money. They wanted the money for the body camera footage. They wanted to overcharge me. They wanted to charge me. And when I asked them, okay, if this is the way you guys want to go about this, just send me the police reports in a PDF file. And once I said send me the pictures in a PDF or send me the reports in a PDF, that's when all of a sudden everything was sealed. So I have the emails. I'll be happy to send them to you with all the requests that were done and the back and forth. And I'm telling you right now, up until the very last second, they were willing to give me everything. And then when I said, just send me the police reports, they said, no, all of a sudden it's sealed.
Yeah, I'm saying, I bet they were very happy and eager to share that information with you.
The point of doing that, the point of that request was to see if they're gonna, for one, if they're gonna honor the request, and for two, if they follow the process. They tried to overcharge them. So they failed. Whether it was sealed or not sealed or anything, they tried to overcharge the man for his information.
Oh yeah, I can't speak to that.
So if Rocky Ford is overcharging for request, I mean, that's why we didn't pay it ultimately. I mean, it wasn't about the money. It was incorrect. You know what I mean? So you'll see in the emails, that's where the argument come down is the billing was incorrect. They were trying to charge us for like 3 hours of redacting or some shit, dude. It's ridiculous. Like, it was incorrect. So they failed that.
And what I can hear is, it's like there's processes and you know that there's laws that everyone has to follow, government, the site included, the cities, and these boards have to follow their own rules. And then it's like, if they're following the process and somebody doesn't like the process, then that's a problem too. So if there's something set saying, okay, if a request comes in and we have to do research and it's this much per hour, I don't know exactly how we have it. But,
well, honestly, I think you guys
process, and then
I'm
they
pretty
come
sure
back.
You guys are behind on that, Duane. I think if I remember right, you guys are one of the towns that still needs to do the raise. Just note that. I think you
Yeah,
guys are still
and
I think you guys are still at 38 an hour, and it's supposed to be
and
44.
probably
I'm just
because
telling you.
that's
That's
one
the
of our big
standard, and
issues
we go
is
by the
between.
standards, right? Core is clearly written. We just go by what it says, and that's how we knew we were overcharged. And then on top of that, most of the time, everything we're getting is for public release. And if you read in Cora, there's an exemption on the fees for people like us
especially
that are going to put it out. Yeah, we're going to disseminate that information, right? So, again, and that they didn't care about that as well. So again, it's just multiple things that they're not really following, right? And
Yeah.
that's
And
the
I'll say,
PD.
I think the role, of just kind of doing those audits is one, seeing if they're doing the right thing, but also two, if it's not done maliciously, I think it creates an opportunity to do better. And I'll tell you right now, if you check the City of Rocky Ford website, if you check our city clerk's page, which you wouldn't have found prior to Monday or Tuesday. But if you look at that city clerk's page, now we have kind of instructions. And, the really good thing about this, because the city clerk may have known the process, but the public doesn't know the process necessarily. You guys are
well,
pros. You know your stuff, but the everyday citizen doesn't, and that creates a problem because there are people who don't know that they can come in and see the budget, or that they can request bank statements, or that they don't know what a Cora request is. So we
well, the other thing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just to say, so check the city clerk's web page, and
So
we put our process. And, I think that's really great because it's also going to hold our city clerk accountable to following this
Right.
process.
well,
So
I think that's where you have
hold on, John.
that's where you have another issue.
Hold
Okay,
on, John.
because I
Give
can
me a
tell.
sec.
Oh,
Give me a
go ahead.
second, John. I'm
Yep.
sorry. Because I want to bring this up for the people so that way they can see how to get to it. I mean, the whole point of behind this is the education to the people so that way they know how to do this stuff and where to go. So again, Duane, you said where to go on this?
I'm not seeing your full screen, but just up to the top, if you hover over administration, hover over city council. Okay, I can see it now. Yeah, and then city clerk. So we just added this Monday or Tuesday, and this is really like, John, thank you, because you're the one who made this happen.
I got to be honest with you, Duane. I like the fact that this is here. I'm not. I haven't had a chance to read through it. Hopefully, it explains that some subject matter is also open to inspection. But I think you have another issue though, because I can tell you right now that there's at least 3 outstanding core requests that I put in from 12/2.
And I mean, I
Two,
see
two,
issues just scrolling through it too, John. I mean, like,
yeah.
go back up, you people. It's like in the bold print. Keep going, because this is an issue I have right there. Request made to any other staff member will not be accepted. Well, that's against Cora and FOIA. It doesn't matter what government official I give my request to; it's their responsibility to get it to where it goes, not mine.
Supposed to
It's not
forward
my
it.
duty. That's why I pay the government.
Yeah, I
So this
challenge you on that. And
is
if you can show me something different, but we ran this by, and just making sure that what we were putting out was right. And it's, there has to be a point person, and our point person is our city clerk.
Right. You have a FOIA officer.
Right.
You have a FOIA officer
and that's their job.
So,
but
I think
anybody I turn my request in, it then becomes their job. That they're now the custodian of my request. It's then their job to get it to the custodian of the information.
So, Duane, I think what the issue is really is, so say I came in and I wanted to do a FOIA request in person in the Rockyford Town Hall, right? And I make out the request, but the clerk isn't there. If I can't hand that request off to somebody and then they could put it on the clerk's desk, that's an issue. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think that's where the issue is with that bold print.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I'll double check on this and make sure that it's right. But, the thing about it is if, we're liable for that clock starts when this is received. So if someone were to take that and it not make it to where it was supposed to go, that puts the city at liability. So by saying this is where it needs to, this is who it needs to go to.
Yeah, but Duane,
it's
that's
clear and
right. But that's where the 7 extra days comes in, because say for the sake of argument, the clerk, like you people said, the clerk's not there and somebody else accepts it and it's sitting on a desk, right? And then a day later, somebody realizes that it's there. You can always claim that 7-day extension to get you to the 10 days total. See? So that's why they allow you to drop that with any government employee, and they would forward it on. So for the sake of argument, you go into DHHS, right? And you do a request with DHHS and you hand it to the person behind the counter. Well, they don't have the information there. They have to forward it on to the attorney. See what I'm saying? So, and that's why they do it the way they do it. It's any government employee can take it, and that's the whole purpose of it. And that's the purpose of the 7-day extension as well.
okay. Yeah, I'm all for learning and I'm all for doing it the right way. So this is what we know. We put this up. We didn't just kind of come up with this. So we found the information as best as we could. So if you can show me something that says otherwise, that way we can update this, and also within the city hall, everyone can be on the same page.
Yeah.
And they'll be ready for that process.
Yeah,
So one of the things that I want to make clear is, I don't want it. It's not going to be, oh, we're the government. We're the ones working in here. We're going to tell you what to do. It's, if we can do things better, let's do them better. And I hope that if anything of what I've been doing over the last couple of years and what I, am doing now, this last year, I think has been the big time of just like, I keep saying, we're going back to the basics. Like, we're going back to pulling all these forms, pulling all these policies that we are supposed to have, or that we say we have, and using them and actually, holding our administration to it, because that's what hasn't happened, and that's created problems, and that's created, you have 2 employees working side by side, and you can ask them on 2 different days and they're giving you 2 different answers, and that shouldn't happen. That erodes trust. I can't even take someone seriously if I'm coming to them for questions and they're giving me the wrong answer, and I'm able to go and find the right answer on my own. I can no longer take you seriously as a professional, and that's what I've had seen happening a lot, and that's really what I've been trying to get.
And that was one of
order over here is just.
Well, and not to beat you up too much on this any further, but we got a couple of things. First of all, I got 3 still outstanding, 3 requests outstanding. And the fourth one is the one that you sent me, which had to deal with the contract for the Goban, right? So the fact that you told me to go on a website drives me insane, because that adds an undue burden on the requester, right?
No, John. Hey, John, I'll back you up there, because I didn't say, hey, go find this information on your own. I told you, hey, this can be found on the website.
Right.
And I'm also going to send it to you, or I'm going to send this to you, but you could find it on the website. So it wasn't saying, hey, go do the work on your own. It's just, I want to teach you how to fish. You know what I mean?
Listen, trust me, John, I understand.
Also, I'll say that request is still outstanding. I sent that to you because that was a direct communication, but that wasn't through the core process. So,
and that's part of the
core request is still outstanding.
And that's
I'm
part
with
of the
you on that.
problem, because that's one of three others. I got three others that are outstanding. Two of them from December 2nd, one from December 7th, which means that you guys are outside the 10 days, which means that you're in violation of the Cora law, right?
I
Which
hear you.
could
I hear you. I hear you.
which could
That's what it
create
sounds like.
problems, and which could create problems. And I do have those, and I'll send those emails to you so you can see what I requested. I mean,
Right.
again,
Here's the law, John. I went ahead and pulled that up. 2472
thank you.
203. I went ahead and pulled that up.
What is it? 24 what?
72 203. It's going to be section 2B. If an official custodian has custody of correspondence sent by or received by an elected official, the official custodian shall consult with the elected official prior to allowing inspection of the correspondence. And above it, in A, if the public records requests are not in the custody or control of the person to whom the application is made, such person shall forthwith notify the applicant of this fact in writing if requested by the applicant. In such notification, the person shall state in detail the best of the person's knowledge and belief that the reason for the absence of records, person's custody or control, locations of the records, and what the custody records have. Let's see. All records open for public inspection at reasonable times. It's all within this section here, Duane. Everything pertinent.
All right. Yeah, I'll take a deeper
So-
dive on this and see.
And I'll talk about the official custodian.
And just one other thing, Duane, and I know that we're hopping on this subject an awful lot tonight, but you guys have a specific form that you require people to fill out in order to do the Cora request. And here's another thing that drives me insane, and your attorneys, the city attorneys everywhere try to pull this crap, is you have to fill this form out. You have to fill this form out. If you go in and you look at the Cora law, I could put it on a piece of toilet paper in Crayola crayon and hand it to your clerk, and they have to accept it. It doesn't matter. I could snail mail it. I could slow walk it to you guys. I could turn around and give it to you verbally, because again, these are the things.
I don't understand that
yeah,
either,
no,
Duane, because
I think
in my
it's
sorry,
I think it's you're right, and you should be able to submit a request. I think can you not look at it from the side of like they're trying to create the form in assisting the process, because that's the big thing where it might say in the law that you can submit a form, it must include this information, but a lot of people are still it's hard to kind of decipher that or to really know if you're doing things right. So
well, I think the problem is, hold on, Duane. I think the problem is that a lot of people don't have access. So say they've got a phone and that's it. Like a lot of people don't have a computer anymore. Mainly people have their computer as their phone anymore. You know what I'm saying? So when you've got to fill out that PDF or whatever, it's hard for people to fill out the PDF. When you make an email, everything that you request on that form is on that email. Name. If you want to include the phone number, you can include the phone number, but these are things that you shouldn't have to include because, say you're making a request, but the person doesn't want you to know who's making the request. They have the right to make the request anonymously, and it's hard to do that with these forms. We found that with these forms, if you don't put your name on it, you're not getting the request. If you don't put your address on it, you're not getting the request. I don't want you knowing where I live. I don't want the people knowing my name. I don't want them knowing my phone number. I'll put my email address on there because that's where I want my information to go. And I think that's the main issue behind all of these little papers. I deal with Los Animas on a daily basis, and all I have to do is email them. And I get my response. Like I don't have to fill out a paper. I don't. Go ahead, Duane. I'm sorry.
Well, the other thing too, just to add to that really quick, Duane, the other reason why people don't want to put their name on these things is because they fear retaliation, right? Say for the sake of argument, I do a request and I'm doing it on you, right? And I don't want you to know that I'm looking into whatever's going on in the background of the mayor's office, right? If I put my name on there and I submit that request, they're going to be hey, Duane, somebody just did a record request over here for you. So out of fear for retaliation, that's why people don't put their name on there, right? That's why they allow you to make the request anonymously. That's all.
Yeah, I hear you, and I'm not. I'll look more at this. Everyone has their role, and core requests isn't my role, so I don't know the full law on that. I definitely want to learn. I definitely want to be able to use it myself if I need to. So I'll look, and I'll learn with you guys. But don't, at least with us, you have a direct line of communication to me, and in turn, we can do things here in Rocky Ford. So if things can be improved, like, I'm all for it. I'm not here to say like I'm doing it right or we're going to do it this way. If you guys can help us, I'm all for that. Because John, nobody. I don't like to bite my, or whatever the term is. I don't like to kick myself in the ass. I told you very confidently that Rocky Ford is really good at core requests, because I have never heard anything otherwise. I know people do requests, and yeah, like I said, I haven't heard anything otherwise. And then to know that core requests have come into the city and they haven't been done timely. I don't want to make myself look bad or me speak out of line. So with that, I hear that there can be some improvements, and like I said, I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure those are improved, because the big thing with all this, it's all policy, it's all process. It's just making everything work for the owners of this community, who are the citizens. So if those things are put in place, you can pick any one of us out of the equation. You can wipe us all off the face of the earth, and the next 7 people who sit down in those chairs or in any of those job positions are going to be able to pick up and keep it moving. And that's what I hope to do. And John Doe in the chat, I see him kind of putting out some crazy stuff. I'm not involved in any of that. If you have info on the police, please share it. I'm all about uncovering corruption. I know somewhere, I think it was you, talked about Jack Hawkes, rest in peace. Jack graduated in class of 2005, 1 year behind me. I was just as devastated as anyone when that happened. So yeah, don't ever put me on the side as Ashby or the corrupt Rocky Ford Police Department at that time period.
Well, do you even have any control over that police department, really?
I'll say that since I came in 2021, I've been active. I had been actively working to ensure that we had the leadership that we deserved, and that involved getting one of the former police chiefs to move on. That happened. So that would have been Chief Griego, and then we got the next police chief. I think that too also wasn't the leadership that we needed, and we're still at it. So there's a lot of things that need to be fixed, and Rocky Ford Police Department has had a history, and it's really gonna take the right person and then the right team to do the right things for the next decade or two, and balance out some of the past.
Well, it's definitely going to take some time to balance out some of the past. I mean, there's a lot of people in the chat here that are living in that area and have a lot of interactions with the police out there. And it's not just Rocky Ford. It's, Bent County, it's Otero County, it's, all the other, small little law enforcements out there. I think the problem is, I don't know, what would you guys, Gary, what would you say you would think the problem is with the law enforcement around here as far as the mentality goes?
I thought there was Sean. I thought he was pretty active in the community, and I really thought that's what we needed. And I think we gained a lot when Sean was in there. Now whether he was the one to make the big changes, he did make a lot of small changes, and I think it was a positive all the way. I think Duane's right, though. We need somebody strong that is that people can trust, and I think that's where we're having a little bit of issue. Is we're having trouble getting people to trust, and believe me, the guys we have and Carol that we have now, I trust them. I don't have any issues with them. I can't say anything bad about them. But I have been on the wrong side of it.
Why isn't Carol chief? Like, why is that something she just isn't interested in, or Rocky Ford isn't interested in, or because I mean, you people and I have met Carol. I mean, only just for a brief time, but I mean, she handled us well. I mean, we had a good interaction, I would say.
Yeah, I would just say, the law enforcement community in this area also believes that we need the right leader.
Well, it's not. I don't know if it's about leadership. And Thunder Rolls Media says Crowley County as well. Yes, Crowley County is bad as well. It's more along the lines of the fact of getting rid of the bad cops. So me and Good Citizen, we've been doing this for quite some time, and we can say that we've got about 50 badges underneath of our belt between the both of us. But the sad part is those cops are still working. They just put on a different badge. They just went on to a different area. Like, let's take recently here, we had Johnson on Los Animas Sheriff's Department and Apple on Los Animas Sheriff's Department. They got into a little bad advice to some people out here, and then Johnson goes off to Trinidad and Apple goes off to Bent County. So, I mean, the problem is the shifting around of all the bad cops. I mean, I'm not saying all cops are bad, but I am saying that, the bad cops make it around here. Trulio, Henry Trulio, for example, he tased a guy in the face. He beat up a 13-year-old kid for passing him with a mini bike, on top of numerous other things. And he still has a chance to be a police officer. I mean,
so for me, that's the wider picture in law enforcement is the way the bad ones can continue to move on from one place to the next one. It's the same way with in the school system with our teachers. You have an ineffective teacher that one district can finally get rid of, and then they move to the next one. So it's not just the cops. I mean, it's a lot of them. But I think what we're missing, what I feel we're missing in the valley here is I don't feel that we have any one particular head of law enforcement that stands out. I mean, and Duane may have some other ideas on this, but John Eberly, when he was a sheriff way back, it seemed to me like at least I didn't really have a lot of dealing with Rocky Ford, but at least the police chief in Lahana kind of looked up to him. He was an older guy. They did have lots of chats, and different places around it, and we just don't have that right now because obviously our Otero County sheriff, he's a no-show except unless you're gonna get his picture, and he's gonna get accredited for something. And then we'll
get his picture.
Good luck.
Yeah, we will.
I've been trying for years to get him on the radio, and
It's on the bucket list, Gary.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. And you know, I realize having a strong chief or leader, you know, there's only part of it, because you know you have to go from the leader all the way down and weed these good guys out. But just, you know, and I hate to bring other people into the picture, but you know, that meeting with Wassenberg and hiring the guy from Morrison. I mean, that guy brings so much legal baggage with him, and it looks like he's wanting to bring the guys with him. And Of course, it looks like the city over there wants to. They want the revenue from the speeding tickets. You know, they don't care about the drugs and the thieving and stuff. They just want the revenue off the speeding tickets.
You know what the worst part about that is, though, too, is these guys that are gypsy cops like him. They bounce around, and you know what the worst part is? They get more money for doing it.
I'm sure.
Well, and that's the crazy thing, Gary. When Johnson left the sheriff's department, he ended up making more money. He ended up getting a bigger salary when he went over to the police department. And, you know, I always thought that it was like the pay scale from police department to sheriffs to state trooper. I always thought that, you know, you'd never made more than a sheriff if you were in the police department. It just seems kind of crazy, man. Like how money shifts around, how they shift around, how, you know, there is no real accountability with law enforcement here. And it's kind of scary because, again, you can have a tyrant cop somewhere and then move over somewhere else. And then eventually we've noticed in a couple departments that a couple officers made their way back to those departments that they caused problems in to begin with.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot that needs to be done as far as reforming law enforcement. I would have to say the only law enforcement I really have not had any problems with is the state troopers, but they stay pretty much well hidden on the highways.
You know,
well, it sounds like John Doe in the chat would say otherwise.
So
yeah.
myself personally, and Duane, since you're listening, I've been talking to for years. I've been talking to these council guys, but apparently, I think it was wasn't it Attorney General, whoever it was that was checking us out? You know, that their recommendation was get the sheriff. You know, let's dump our police department, get the sheriff.
No, Gary, and that wasn't the recommendation, and that's why that hasn't happened. That was kind of that was the worst. That was the next step, I guess, or the worst case. So it was, if you guys can't get your shit together, we're gonna disband your department, and sheriff's gonna come in and take you guys over. So that's kind of what we had been, or I guess are still fighting against,
right.
And we're still under that compliance order from the Attorney General. And Gary, I don't know if you know, but did you see that McDonough? I know everybody was in love with McDonough over here. You know, he said some things about this community that I would never agree with. And he moved on. We know he moved on and went to Monte Vista. Did you know that he got fired back in November in Monte Vista?
No, I didn't know he got fired. I knew he moved on.
I don't know. Is it Rocky Ford and Monte Vista are the problem, or is it this person the problem?
You know, and you're right. And Chief McDonough, you know, he wasn't perfect by any means, but I do think that some of the stuff that he implemented kind of helped us out a little bit. Now, whether it would have stayed, myself personally, even when we hired him, I was pretty sure he was not going to stay. He was going to. I didn't think he would leave as quick as he did. But
so I had some dealings with him while he was in Rocky Ford, and then after he left Rocky Ford, and I lost all respect for him.
Really,
when he was in Rocky Ford, I had a little bit of respect for him, mainly because of his sense of humor. You know, you can get a long ways with a good sense of humor. You know, he was lighthearted. Like, we poked with him back and forth on Facebook. It's showing humanism, you know. He was good for that. Every time we'd show up, he was nowhere to be found, right? Every time we showed up, we went to the police station and asked for the chief.
Oh, really?
He was never there.
Oh, so he was like Mobley, just a no-show or what?
So face to face, we never got to meet him. We dealt with him
Well,
online.
this might be part of the problem. So under the former city manager, he had the agreement where he was working 14 days on, 14 days off, and he was doing 24-hour shifts. So I don't know. It'd be nice. I know I heard like Albert Einstein used to take like 10-minute naps and do this and that, but I don't know. How do you do
we missed him every time that we went. We missed him. Last time we went there, Mark was there. We talked with Mark for a little bit. Good guy, man. Mark was a good guy. Absolutely. We had good interaction with him. Good interaction with Carol. We had some good interactions, but not with the chief personally, other than on Facebook. Now, once he moved up to Monty, I don't know if you guys know, we cover out west there as well. So we had some issues there, and so I talked to him as I give him time to get in as the new chief, and then I said, "Hey, look, had some issues with the last chief not doing his job. You want to check it out?" He didn't want to do shit. So I just figured out he's mostly just puffing up for show. Ha ha ha. He wasn't able to make any difference over in Monty. It's a rough neighborhood. I congratulated him and I had high hopes for him to do something over there. They have been posting more online since he got there or since he's left even. So that keeps the public a little more informed. But Monte Vista Police Department is a shithole, straight up. That's my opinion. But he found it that way and he left it that way. So personally, me and Sean, I just don't have respect for him. I tried.
He's that centerpiece on the dinner table you don't bother to look at.
Yeah. I mean, I tried. Like when you have the opportunity to step up and do the right thing and it's the right thing, and then you intentionally do the opposite. Right. Yeah. Not for me.
And to understand a little bit of his backstory, if I understand correctly, he wasn't here for the money. He doesn't need the money. And that makes a guy, to me, well, it could make a guy dangerous if they don't need the money, because that may have a tendency to want to push other stuff. But I think we were a stepping stone. We were a flag in his little lapel, and everywhere he goes, that's just one more.
Yeah. So this is what it was, Gary, and this is really something. I don't know. It's something. So the former chief was an immigrant. He was an Australian immigrant, and his reason for coming to Colorado is because we have people-friendly laws, immigrant-friendly laws. So we're one of the few states. I think there's a couple, maybe 15 or so states that do allow immigrants to become law enforcement officers. So that's why he came to Colorado. And then once he gets once he gets that post-certification and that experience, then he can move to another unfriendly state like Arizona that he can transfer to. And, Gary, just think, like, if your wife and kids lived in another state, one of two things isn't going to work. Either your job's not going to work or your marriage isn't going to work. I mean,
Lake Tahoe, California. Lake Tahoe, California. That's where his wife and kids were. I mean, and to be out here working for piddly wages like we were paying him. I mean, that doesn't cover the barista in Lake Tahoe. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
GCM, I put this in there. I forgot. That's the wrong chat. But no, that was a kind of hear his side of immigration and
right.
what his plans were.
Well, I just hope that we can get and I don't know that Carol's the right person. I like
No,
Carol.
man, me
Back in
neither.
the days. But at the same time, I don't even know if Carol wants the job. I mean, that's kind of what
I don't think she does. That's why I was saying earlier. Like, I don't really think she does. And I don't think she's probably not the right fit. But I mean, as an interim, she's there now. She's handling business. But yeah, I mean, really, I think you need somebody that's a little more.
And I think someone put in earlier, and it's kind of come up from some of the citizens, what am I doing? And I think as far as our police department goes, I'm gonna call out things that I see on this side, on the public side, on the citizen side, because of my history. I'm, for anyone listening who doesn't know, I'm an ex-felon. And, I know that, and I know that dynamic is always going to be weird. I know that none of our law enforcement officers are ever really going to respect me in the sense of looking up to me as their mayor. I get that, so I try not to get involved in anything over there. Like I said, if there's something to call out, I'm going to call it out, and I've done that. But as far as kind of on the inside, I don't have interaction like that. So we have a police chief hiring committee. If you look back to our council meeting when we talked about that, I said right away, like I don't think it's in our best interest for me to be on that committee. Council member Martinez is on that committee for us, but I think it's in the best interest of everybody that me personally not being involved on that side. I think we all bring our experiences and law enforcement and that just, it definitely isn't something that I'm experiencing or something that I want to be involved in. So we have a lot of other people, I guess just from council and then from the community who are the right ones to be involved in that part of the process.
Duane, have you been telling people they can't listen to Gary's show while they're at work?
No.
That's the rumor I
Yeah.
heard. That's the rumor I heard, Duane, that the employees cannot enjoy Gary Reed's morning show while they're at work.
No, we got some employees who were disgruntled, and some other ones who don't like me. It's there's a lot of things that happen over here, and there's a lot of forces in play that have been trying to. I've spoken up. I've called shit out. I can look at a budget really well. I can connect expenses to invoices. And when things don't look right, when we're buying vehicles from friends and sons, I'm going to call that shit out, and some people don't like that. And some people will use that to try to get me in trouble with the law. Some people will use that to somehow get their hands on my CBI report and magically email that over to the news saying that, the community is afraid of an ex-felon being mayor. Well, over 68% of the community put their trust in me, and
you was elected. You was elected. So many places we see appointments because obviously nobody wants to run for these positions, so it ends up an appointment. I mean, I give it to you fair and square. You got it through an election, so kudos to you. I mean, the people speak. When it's an election, that's the people speaking. Especially if it's a fair election.
And we've heard the one that cannot be named. Seen him put a comment about a recall. I've heard that come up. Same people, same little group of people in this community. And like I told him, all it takes is 200 signatures to recall the mayor here in Rocky Ford based on our last election. And I'll be one of them. I'll sign it. Because I respect the process. If you can gather 200 signatures and put that to a recall election, I of course, would run to defend myself. And then, we would let the community speak again. So, I'm all for the process.
Right. That's why it's there. I mean, it's there for a reason.
You have, Lori, like, I'll kind of haze you a bit and keep poking. But, if you came to this community and talked to people, it's different than the 4 or 5 people that you see commenting on Gary's show.
Explain to me, as a convicted felon, how you have the authority to go ahead and be in a political office in government. You lost your right to vote. You spent 12 years of your life in lockdown because you were a threat to society, and now you're claiming one of the highest positions in government. How do people?
I'll just say, hey, I'll say we're at an amazing time in world and history right now, because our amazing President-elect Donald Trump just broke that glass ceiling for everybody.
Yes, he did.
For all of history.
Yes,
so I'm all for it. No, but seriously, Lori, what it is in Colorado Constitution and in the United States Constitution, being a felon doesn't bar you from holding office. Now, we can take this almost back to the other part of the discussion.
Any elected office.
Home rule.
Any elected office. Let's be clear,
right.
too. It is any elected office. It doesn't matter if you're a felon or not.
Yeah, like, I mean, you can have what is it, like embezzlement or larceny, and you can go and run to be the treasurer. It's, when it comes time to campaign and stuff, people are gonna, they're probably gonna tear you down. You're probably not gonna win, but technically you could. So Lori, but Lori, what it is in the state constitution, nothing is set in there. It just says 18 and over, must live in your district for a year, and you must be an registered voter. Now, every municipality can't ever relax the rules beyond the state, but they can always make the rules tougher than the state. Like Pueblo,
I think where Lori is confused is you that you were arrested for a felony. Did you ever get your rights back? I think she's underneath the understanding that you don't have the right to vote, and you just said that you had to be a registered voter, which as a felon you cannot be a registered voter. So
good catch on that. And I don't know about other states, so we're talking Colorado. So Colorado gave felons the right to vote back in 2016. So even prior to that, we could still vote, but if you were on active if you were on paper still, if you were on active probation or parole, you weren't allowed to vote. Now, the way that the law is as long as you are not incarcerated, you're eligible to vote. So if someone does, a 10-year prison sentence, comes out on 3-year parole, they're allowed to vote. The other side of that is until you've been convicted, you are still eligible to vote. So if someone gets arrested and is in county jail or bonds out, whatever, until they're convicted, they're still eligible to vote. So you'll see Adams County, Denver County, they're actually their county clerks have been working to take away some of those barriers, and they've been setting up polling locations in the counties because those people are still under their due process rights. They haven't been convicted, so they've been accused of a charge, and they hold that right until they're convicted.
Right.
I know. I heard you guys talking about
we came across law enforcement out. Hold on. We came across law enforcement out here, and even though I'm a felon, Lori, I can carry a gun. I can carry a gun out here, even though I'm a felon. I just can't own the gun. The gun cannot be in my name. I can't conceal the weapon, but I can carry a weapon still, and I can defend myself. I have the right to the Second Amendment, even as a felon. I found that this state likes to play around with different laws and different ways the felonies work. But in my opinion, or let me ask a few of you here on panel, because I want to know your opinions. What's your opinion on the fact that you can run for office as a felon. You can obviously run for president right now as a felon. You can do whatever you want in government as a felon, but you can barely get a job. You get looked down upon because of your background in certain areas and whatnot and so forth. So what's your opinions on that? What's your opinion on the aspect of the guy that's not going for government compared to the guy that's going for government? What's the difference?
So myself personally, I'm just going to pop in there real quick. Myself personally, I do believe in rehabilitation. I don't come from the camp that says once you're a convicted felon, you have no more rights. I mean, there are people that come out of that do amazing stuff. And with that being said, and this is kind of on behalf of Duane here. He took a bad situation. He's doing a lot of good for a lot of people. Now, does that erase everything he's done in the past? It does not. But at the same time, I do believe, and whatever religious beliefs you have to believe that people can get better. Now, that's not saying they all get better, but they can get better. And some people, they're just not going to get any better, and they're still going to get elected, right? They're still going to get elected into, I'm probably going to get myself in trouble here, but our president, of course, he wasn't a convicted felon before today. I think it is when he is actually a convicted felon today or yesterday. I don't remember exactly, but if he straightens up and he ends his life like Jimmy Carter, and I don't know how you guys feel about Jimmy Carter, but Jimmy Carter was the most hated president in 1980, and he turned around to do a lot of good for a lot of people. And I honestly believe that just because you're in jail, I don't care how horrible the stuff you've done. Well, I take that back. There are some things that that's a little tough for me to swallow, and that's crimes against kids and stuff like that, and girls. And I think you know what I'm talking about. But
right.
But for the most part, I do believe that if you can pull yourself together and do something good for your community, then you deserve a chance. That's my opinion.
Right. How about you, Lori? Let's hear your opinion on that.
I don't even know what there are people that have really good reasons when they get out of jail. They don't and they go to the other people. There are people that get in the power, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens. They're going to be repeat offenders, and they're going to have excuses, and the world is against them. It's a choice. Right. Everything you do is a choice. And if you're sitting there telling me that you've been a convicted felon for embezzlement, I'm not bringing you to my business, because my business is my name. My business is my livelihood. I have people that I have employed that rely on me making good decisions. And if I'm bringing the wolf right into the sheep pen and I'm telling the sheep, it's okay, guys, this is a really good person, I'm set for doom. I'm set for failure. And what I see when I look at those meetings and I see the disrespect that these people show towards the public, and remember, you were voted in, and you treat those people like they are beneath you, shit on your shoe, shame on you. And Nicole, I will fight her to the ends of the earth because she's out of control. And you allow that, Duane. You allow that because you are the head guy. And you sit there and say, Nicole, 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 Nicole. And she does her obnoxious behavior, and everybody just watches it. It's despicable.
Lori, and I'm going to call you out on the bullshit there, because here's something. Okay. I did that. The way that let me start my camera. You know, the way that I approached it is the way that I am going to approach it. You know, I am not going to yell at someone or, you know, tell someone to shut up. I am, you know, I don't have that authority. I have the authority to pull the meeting back. And that's, you know, what I was doing was saying, hey, like, stop, you know, stop, Nicole, stop, reminding her, you know, what
we
we were.
saw how many times.
But I've seen you post comments like you expected me, to yell at her and demean her and tell her to shut up.
No.
Like I
No.
would not disrespect
You need to say,
person
you need
that
to
way.
say, Nicole, you need to say, Nicole, that's not appropriate. You need to say, Nicole, that's not appropriate. We don't treat our guests like that. You have the power to use your words and say that, and you don't say anything. You don't say anything but her name, and you let her sit on your lap. And that's it, man. That's it. You're
If
good.
I could, if I could, Duane,
Lori,
just
sorry,
one.
I didn't do it the right way for you.
Duane, if I could, I just want to point something out, okay? First of all, if any member of the public talked out the way that she did in that meeting, right? We could be arrested under the CRS for interrupting a governmental function. Technically, you could have warned her once, warned her twice. After the third one, she could have been placed under arrest for disturbing that public meeting. I mean, there are remedies to that situation. Realistically, I think that the better course of valor would have been to have gavelled her down, said, Nicole, you need to stop. If you do it again, I'm going to gavel you again. And after the second one, when I gavel you, the third one is I'm going to have the deputy take you into custody and remove you from the meeting. You can have her removed from that meeting.
I hear
or even a recess and
there
correct
are
her
remedies.
in private.
I guess it's, you know, it's a learning lesson. It's something that's gonna, you know, that I'll learn from. You can
That's what
watch
it's for,
back
Duane.
the last year.
Hey, don't feel
that
we're
I've been
beating you
here.
up.
I've never gavelled anyone. You know, I want everyone to have the opportunity to speak. And Gary
don't
can
feel we're
attest
beating you
to
up,
the
Duane.
fact that some people have come in and you know, told us some really bad things and yelled at us and yelled from the back of the room. We've never, in my time for sure, we've never arrested anyone. And my 6 years since I've been back home, I've never seen anything. Gary, I don't know if you can recall in your decade or so you've been sitting back there, but you know, I don't think that's you know, we really don't have we never have a we never request a police presence. Things, you know, things
We have two people
work
that show up.
here.
Two people that show up,
Lori,
except that one meeting where there was like 20.
Everyone
everyone
has their areas of interest. You know, not everyone. We have some exceptions. Gary's one of our exceptions. You know, he comes because he's interested in all of it. You know, but everybody has their areas of interest, and honestly, most of them are selfish, and that it is what it is. You know, so if we're talking about housing codes, if we're talking about potholes, if we're talking about you know, the parks, different people care about different things, and the people who care about the topic that's on the agenda, those people come at those meetings. You know, we have a few people over, you know, the last, I guess, just always it fluctuates. We'll have people who come and sit in there because they are just truly interested in what's going on. But other than that, you know, people come when the topic at hand is something that they're passionate about, something that they're either, you know, passionately for or passionately against. And that's what that forum is for. It's for the people to speak and provide their input on what's happening and the decisions that are being made. And, you know, to take it back to, you know, what I said in the beginning, as long as I'm...
But who's going to show up and do that, Duane, when they got somebody like right now, prime example, Nicole? I mean, who... I've seen the police presence there. I've seen Carol in the back that night.
All of this.
You know what I mean?
Nicole is organized. All of this that's happening is organized. It's the same people behind it.
No,
You know,
but it
I'm
can't
sorry,
be.
you guys don't. You guys,
But it
it
can't.
is.
It can't be.
It is.
What I've seen is
So-
organic. What I've seen is organic, right?
No,
Like,
it's really not.
her response. Nobody was
it's
twisting her
city
arm to make her
employees.
speak
It's
that
city
way.
employees who. Oh yeah, no, you're right. As far as her
Right.
conduct in the meeting,
Right, that's what I mean.
But these
Exactly.
things
Her
that
conduct.
have happened
Nobody
with her,
else. Just
these
watching
things
her.
that have happened with her have been, you know,
That's-
this
Just
is
like
all
watching you,
organized.
right? Like aside from any public interaction or whatever, I'm just saying, just her demeanor. I can see it. I watch the camera. I pay attention.
And that's
Not only what she
yeah,
says, but what she does. Body language
that's
speaks
a problem,
volumes.
and that's gonna get people. You know, that's gonna get them
Like the people who
themselves in
disagreed
trouble.
with her that night when she left, she's on camera going like this. You know, like nobody twisted her arm to do that, Duane. That is her demeanor. That it can't be staged against her when she acts like that.
No,
You know?
yeah, you're
It's
right.
so again, it's criticism. It is what it is. She could do better. We all could do better, right? That's what I'm saying. Don't feel we're beating you up, man. It's not.
Did you
it's
Duane,
criticism. It's criticism.
Duane, I want to be perfectly clear. I'm not advocating to arrest her. You could have her removed from the meeting on the third one. I'm not saying to have her arrested because she's creating the disturbance of the meeting. I'm saying she could be asked to leave the meeting. On the third one, you have the deputy escort her out of the meeting. She doesn't have to be placed under arrest because I'm not advocating arrest for anybody.
Yeah,
I'm just
you're
saying.
that that's
But
an
nobody's
option.
going to show up as long
you're
as
saying
she's
that's an
acting
option,
that
and I
way,
hear you.
Duane. Like
Right,
honestly,
I'll say I'll say that people are still going to show up, and people do still show up. So
probably
I
not
get
the
it,
crowd that you'd like.
and I hope
you know?
If anything comes out of this, I know she's learning from it, and she's changing her making some personal changes.
The last meeting I seen her in, she did a lot better, Duane. She did.
Yeah,
she
can
only
all be
spoke
better.
when
That's
she needed to. She wasn't condescending. She did a lot better the last meeting. Okay.
One of the really
we give
interesting
credit where credit's due.
One of the really interesting things, couple things, as kind of we're talking around there. First one, all of the people that were speaking up against Councilwoman Roberts, and the people who were calling for her to be removed and this and that, I can almost say not one of them that were actively vocal were any of her constituents. And she was voted in at the last election, 200 and something votes. She actually beat someone by 2 votes. And, that I think that speaks a lot. So if we would have had someone from, one of her constituents from her ward come in and speak up, that would have said a lot more than having a citizen /employee from some other ward, or someone from a different town. Something else that's kind of cool that happened, and would love to hear everyone's perspective on it. But did you guys see the Red Dog fight over in Lahana? Did you guys get to watch that video?
Yeah, I did. I did see that one.
Yeah, you seen those girls fighting in that one?
Yeah.
I didn't see it, man. I've been so swamped, man. Like we're dealing with so many towns right now. It is just ridiculous.
There's
you'd never think that every town is that messed up, man. But they all need work in some areas, for sure. And some are more willing to work with us than others, right? Like, I mean, you've been more than willing to work with us. Like, we appreciate you coming up here on the show and talking through some of these tough things. It's a good forum for it. I mean, we're not beating you up, man. It's I don't envy your position. It's not.
I know a lot of people might take it that way, but I take it as you're sharpening me, and in turn,
right.
you're going to sharpen Rocky Ford, because when that auditor does come, who does have malicious intent, or if you have this sue happy person or attorney, they're not gonna have mercy on us. So you're helping me. I appreciate you all for calling out the things that and you see. And one thing I do have is I do somewhat have the power to fix things. And, I'm going to take those and implement them. And
well, you have a voice. You have a voice, right? And we all have a voice. But
yeah.
you have your platform, right? Same
Hey,
as we have our voice and we have our platform.
Back to the fight, good citizen. So there's a fight that happened at the bar a couple weeks ago up over in La Junta, and it kind of went viral. Somebody, I don't know, some social media person that has a bunch of followers shared it, not from here. Like you heard of World Store. What is it? World Star. So it got shared like that, but it was over in La Junta, and just so happens, coincidentally, it's the same group of girls that were involved in the incident with Nicole. So again, you can, I don't know.
Right, and I don't know. I don't know about that incident or the incidents. All I know is just what I've seen personally. That's all I'm judging her on. I'm not judging on anything that I've heard, just what I've seen. Like I say, same with you. I'm not judging you on things I heard. Duane, I hear all kinds of shit about you, dude. All kinds of shit. I mean,
it probably comes from the same two people.
All different people. I'm not gonna lie. It comes from all different people, man. I got a lot of sources.
I think it's the same two people.
And I mean, I don't hold that against you because I heard it from somebody. You know what I mean? Now, do we investigate? Of course we investigate. If we get leads on things, we investigate, but I don't hold that against just because I heard something, right? Same with Nicole. Like what I heard happen, I don't hold that against her. I'm going directly by what I've seen her do in the meetings, right? And that is my time. That's my time. She's working for me then. You know what I mean? She's in her capacity. So she needs to leave that shit at the door, right? And like I say, last meeting she did much better. That's improvement, man. I hate to see it like if it slips back or something, right? Like I mean, like now she's kind of set the bar there. Hopefully she can keep it there, right? So, I mean, the last meeting that I watched, like I say, she did much better. She did her job, not putting her feelings ahead of her job. So, I mean, it can get emotional in there, I'm sure, but as well as I do that letting your emotions take control in a situation like that's the last thing to do. You have to remain professional. So, and that's all. I mean, nobody's perfect, man. Everybody has their days as well, right? So it's just a matter of if you don't call it out, then it just continues on. Right. So we're the type when we see it, we're definitely calling it out. And usually we make a little funny of it. You know what I mean?
So just to kind of piggyback off of this, and I'm going to ease into this one for you, Duane, because you had sent me a copy of the contract between the Goban and the town of Rockyford, right? Or the city of Rockyford. And one of the issues that I have is that I have the contention, and my contention with that whole contract is the city of Rockyford technically owns the Goban. They essentially are allowed to rent it or allowed to have the Chamber of Commerce rent it out. Now, when you do that, that takes that private property and makes it public. It's kind of like, how they put the DMVs in a strip mall, right? Well, when you put a DMV in a strip mall, what happens to that strip mall? It becomes public property because the government has rented that space and the public has to go there to do business. The Goban's no different. Because you have that contract, that opens it up. So when I requested security camera footage from the Goban on that incident so that we could find out what happened, I don't even think I've gotten a response yet. That's one of the ones that I put the request in for. Okay. So again, this kind of brings us back to how am I supposed to know what's going on to be able to report on what actually happened that day in the Goban if I can't get access to public documents or public information?
And John, I'm sorry to say, but it's not accurate. It's not accurate. So although the city does own that property, once someone leases it from the city, in this case, it's the Chamber of Commerce. If it was Gary's business, If it was, whoever it is, whatever the entity or the person who rents it, they are in control of that premise. Now you were talking about security footage.
If you hired Gary to come do some concrete work for Rocky Ford, then I could then probe Gary's business.
No, you can't. You would
We
never
have.
be able to. I mean,
Yeah,
how many?
We have. I mean, we've done it
city is
multiple
doing-
times. Like
And
especially in like
here's the other- and
Aguilar,
here's
we
their
were dealing with
financials.
contractors in that USDA agreement, and that USDA made it real easy because they were under contract with the USDA, which is another government entity.
But
And here's the other thing.
Are you saying related to the business at hand, or are you
Any
saying
kind of
you can
contract
probe
they have
into-
with them, with the government.
And so,
And here's the-
in this case, it's John and sorry, in this case, the city of Rocky Ford doesn't. The city owns the building, but the beyond that, if they have, you're talking security cameras. If they have security cameras, those are theirs. They're under, if they have, I don't even know if they do have them, but I really don't think they do. But they would be under that entity's name. And, the city of Rocky Ford just can't reach into all these places. Like, I mean, think about that in the same breath. Like that's government overreach. So just, yeah, you think about.
Well, I think but here's the difference. Okay. The difference is that if, for the sake of argument, and in the contract, when I got down to it, one of the issues would be if something should happen where they couldn't say the government can't rent out for 3 months, right? And they fall short on however much money they were supposed to make or whatever, the city of Rockyford has to pick up the shortfall. And that's why I say, again, this is why it's open, and it should be open to the public.
Well,
because even the Chamber of Commerce is part of Rockyford.
The Chamber of Commerce is also listed
building.
as a nonprofit, which also makes it public. You're dealing
So
with a
that's
lot
not
of public entities. You're not dealing with private entities.
It's a public
here.
entity, but you cannot go do a core request on a public entity, on a nonprofit. A government entity, yes.
No, they're supposed to have everything posted already. You're not supposed to have to request anything from a nonprofit public entity. Like that's part of their operating rules. You
still need to be able. You still need to provide a request, and they're going to be under different. They're under different laws than a government agency.
Oh yeah.
So the thing there, John, you're talking about the financial kind of protection. It's the building, so the chamber is renting the building. They're responsible for the utilities and all of that, maintenance and upkeep. If they weren't able to do it, the city's not just going to let that asset, go to crap. The city's going to step in and fix what needs to be fixed and take it over. Now, if the Chamber of Commerce is, if their budget, if they weren't able to operate their business, the city's not going to cover that. The city's protecting their business.
The public could only know when they're doing bad, not when they're doing good. Because then it's a public concern because we're paying for it if they're doing bad. But if they're doing good, we can't know anything about them. You see what I'm saying? Like it doesn't make no sense.
You can make a request to the Chamber of Commerce and ask for their financials. You can. And what it is for nonprofits, it's a 990 filing, which need to be publicly accessible. So Small Town Project is
most people put them online.
That I founded. We have our 990s, and those are accessible. But the city of Rocky Ford cannot come and say you have to show those. I guess the city can't pull them to provide them to someone. Like that's their business. You need to just deal with them directly. And I think, and that's kind of what it is. It's, it would be nice. It's nice if the city weren't to just say, oh, that's not our problem. You got to figure that out. But, if they know and they can say, hey, we're not in charge of that, but this is what you need to do and how you can, possibly get the information you're asking for.
Well, here's the problem, right? Here's the problem right now. Right now, on the board of trustees for the Chamber of Commerce, you have six people that are related in one way, shape, or form, right? Out of a board of 9. Okay, and most of them are family members. They're married to family members. I mean, they're married couples. They're sisters. Their daughter. There's a mother. As a matter of fact,
Yep.
the
No,
chairman of
you're
the
good.
board
I think you, I
is.
think you, I think you explained it well enough, and this is the thing, 2 things there, John. First, that's not against any rules. And
No, I'm not saying
2,
it is, but if
and
you try to
2,
get
No,
and
go ahead.
2, like those are the people who are showing up. Like I give it to them people. Those are the people volunteering. I'll ask you guys and I'll kind of say it, smart ass, like how many boards are you volunteer to be on in your community? We
6.
hear this thing. It's called the STP. It's called the same 10 people in a lot of our small communities. And that's what it is. Gary, how many boards are you on? You're on the pool commission with me. You're on, I don't know, a few of them.
yeah, I'm on a few. Yeah.
And Gary, how many people are on the board with you, are on other boards with you? And that's
Almost all of them
because
are on other boards.
you have these people who are willing to invest their time and be involved. And then in that same breath, people will say, oh, well, they're all buddies or friends. And it's like, you can't win, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one for sure.
Listen,
But
I would agree with you. I think
structured that way because anybody, was being crazy, controlling or deceptive. I mean, like the people who are involved in the chamber are the people who are, business owners and who are, wanting to promote economic development. And, we have our people.
tell them to update the 501c3 information on the website, please.
I can send over a note. But again, that's that entity, and they're responsible to the Colorado Secretary of State.
I understand, but I'm going to respectfully disagree with the whole that it's not public property.
What else we got, guys?
Well, I mean, so I guess just to piggyback off what John was saying, so you guys have to pick up the bill if they can't. And how often does something like that happen?
Never. Just think about it. Like it's our asset. So if they cannot fix the HVAC, if they can't, pay the water bill, is the city, is it fiscally responsible for the city to just let it go? No, they're going to step in and we're going to fix something and pay it. And with that, it's also a possibility that we might, it's a violation of the lease. It does say that, so if they can't hold up to their side of it, then, they're probably going to have to move out or figure something out. So it's not just, we're going to come in and save you and you can do whatever you want. But those are the protections in the lease.
I actually did have one question for you about that, because I was reading the contract and the contract's good for 2 years. So technically the city of Rockyford doesn't have to renew with the Chamber of Commerce after the 2 years, do they?
No. Yeah, it's a rental lease. One thing I will say though is, I don't know. Gary, do you know where the chamber was before the Gobin building? Have they been in the Baggett in the depot?
So
I feel like they were there when I was a teenager.
Yeah, they've been there as long as I can remember. They may have been in another building at some point, but they've always been there as long as I can remember.
Yeah. And then guys, so there's and John, in that agreement, you'll see kind of 2 wordings, and I hope there's definitions. I can't remember. But there's you'll see it say Gobin complex, and then you'll see it say like the depot or baggage room. the Gobin complex is kind of the big, large event space that was just built in late 90s. And there's also another, I guess, whole nother complexity to that, because there's a living trust, the Gobin, I guess, trust that put up money, and then there's still money there to keep the building upkeep. So then there's a third entity kind of that oversees that building. Something else that I heard that I was thinking of, I think it was in yesterday's video about Sugar City, that you guys called out saying that Sugar City was wrong about the 2022 taxes. Does that ring a bell to you guys? I think, John, you're the one who was talking about it.
No, that was
you people.
Yeah, that was me.
People, do you recall exactly what I'm saying? It said the 2022 tax levies.
Right. And I read it back. I just read it a little bit too far. But what I find funny is, and we look at a lot of budgets, Duane, like a lot of budgets. And what I've noticed is it seems to be a theme that 2022 seems to be a high point on everybody's budgets.
Do you know why?
No, tell me why.
That was the 2024 budget, and you said, how come they're not using 23s? So do you know? Because there's something to this right here. It's because the counties only assess every 2 years on even years. So this year I guess last year in 24, there was a new assessment. So in the 25 budget, it's going to use 24's assessment. In the 26 budget, it's going to use 24's assessment. And then in 26, there will be a new assessment, and then so on. So the counties only do the assessments every 2 years, and then we'll use that assessment for, I guess, 2 years in a row. So I heard that, and I wanted to kind of point that out. It wasn't a mistake on their part like that. They really were using 22's tax assessment.
No, and I wasn't. I maybe I didn't clarify myself, and I again, it's funny how 2022 keeps coming up on a lot of budgets, and it's not just tax assessments and stuff like that. It's also off of loans and whatnot and so forth. I think the furthest back I've seen is Aguilar getting loans for 2020's budget, and it was 2023, and they were applying with 2020's budget. Again, we've just come across a lot of stuff, and 2020 and 2022 seems to be big numbers in a lot of budgets that I've seen. And again, it's not a normal budget that we see. Like something that's in a spreadsheet, you'd see the previous years and whatnot and so forth. But we did give it kudos on the fact of the amount of information that was put out on that stuff. You don't see that a lot in budgets either, as far as like the loans on their different vehicles and whatnot and so forth, and how it pays out. They really don't. Not a lot of budgets go into that much detail. So yeah, I mean, it was just me laughing at something small that I catch, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't mean that they were wrong in that aspect. It was just, I was laughing at something that, I come across, and it was just inside joke.
It's funny, you might be able to answer this for us, Duane. So if they can't file their financials or their audits for the last 5 years, right? And they had money that was being held up by the state. My question is that money that they were collecting in property taxes that was held by the state, does the state keep that money?
I don't know what the ultimate would be, kind of what it is. It's like the state is saying, hey, you guys you're in a violation. We're going to hold this kind of as a punishment. And until you fix whatever is in violation, you're not going to get this money, so I haven't learned of anywhere where it's gone that far, where some municipality just totally hasn't been able to get their act together. But yeah, I don't know. I would imagine you know, because the state, that's the city piece of the property tax. So, I mean, I would imagine that city portion should be refunded back to the property owner. You know, the county, school, state, you know, they're in compliance, so they probably already got their piece of the tax. But you know, I think, you know, that's the cities. But if the city wasn't able to get their act together, you would think it would go back. But I don't think it's ever gone that far. You know, they're going to do everything the state's going to do everything in their power and give as much guardrails as possible for the municipality to, you know, take care of what they need to, and then, you know, get that done. And that's, you know, Ordway had that. You know, now we're kind of seeing it with Sugar City. I think I might have even heard you guys say Aguilar's having something similar. They're holding that money right now, and until those things get taken care of, you know, they're not going to send it over. And, you know, I know I've heard you guys talk about, you know, them, the Sugar City or whoever it is mentioning, like, can we get a waiver on these audits? Like, I hear where you're saying, like, that's bullshit, but also as a citizen, like, if they can get that waiver and then from that point on start doing it the right way, you know, it's hurting the citizens just as much by that money not coming back to this community, and being held up at the state. So, you know, the state is going to be providing as much guidance as possible. Of course, the municipality needs to figure it out on their own, but, you know, the state's going to hold their hand.
Aguilar and Sugar City, man, when over $500,000 comes up missing, I'm in no hurry to get those folks any type of more money to misuse until the problem's corrected.
GCM.
That's just my view.
GCM, there's a member in the chat there that would like to come up, and I think he would be a good addition to this panel.
I'll shoot you a link. I'll get you.
If he can jump on, that's our man Cody over in Sugar City.
Duane, just make sure that you accept the prompts for audio and video. Once you're in the show, you can mute or turn your camera off, but you got to give permissions to let you in. I'll send you the link.
Duane, let me give you a little bit more background on that. So the current developments on Aguilar is that the auditor couldn't even come up with paperwork to do an audit for 2019. What they ended up doing is just apparently signing a piece of paper stating this is the best we can do, and they got their money back. It's very detailed. It's out on our page from one of their meetings from the auditor, saying how grave of a issue that they're actually in.
And they got some of their money.
Issues.
They did get some of that money.
They got.
And where did
it
go? We already don't know. It's
right.
terrible.
So, I mean, I think that's where it's confusing
that money,
a lot of people.
That money, as you know, has only certain ways to be used. It's not just anything money. You know, it's for certain improvements, right? So in Aguilar's case, like improving the park or the community center or things like that, right? Not catching up debt that they had from, 2 years ago or something. Like that's not what it was meant for, but who knows what it gets used for. Because again, if you can't get to the problem and get rid of that problem, bringing in more money doesn't never fix anything. It's just more money that we end up losing in the long run. In our experience, that's what we see over and over. Until you can fix the problem and then bring in the money. I agree. Like it hurts the citizens. It hurts everybody that we can't get that money and have it used where it's supposed to be. But if you can't prove where you even used the last money, how are you going to prove where you use this money? It just comes down to they have to be willing to accept that change, right? And to do the right thing, be transparent. What's up, Cody? Good to see you.
Good to see you, Cody.
Cody is Sugar City's Mayor Pro Tem. We appreciate you coming up. Because because yeah, same with Sugar City. There's some things been going around, just like Rocky Ford. We're just trying to clear up any misconceptions and allow the people to ask some questions and get to the bottom of it, because that's part of it. As long as we can get that transparency going, that is the biggest piece of the puzzle usually. Again, because hey, if you get the money, that's great, but then we want to know, where did it go, right? Things like that. So if there's no transparency there, then I sure don't feel safe giving you any money. Like, and that's not directed at you guys personally, but anybody.
Well,
Period.
Speaking of transparency, and while we have Cody up here, I'm sorry, Cody, but I'm going to have to hit you with a hard one right off the bat, my man. What's up with the no Zoom, no Facebook, bro? Like, that's not transparent about Sugar City, bro. Not at all.
Well, the no Zoom was a vote. They bring it up to the council and they wanted to do no Zoom because they felt like they were getting interrupted. And all you guys should know, like when it came to the vote, I was a no. Like we shouldn't get rid of it. Everybody else was a yes because they felt like it was an interruption.
Facts.
It was too much to handle for a lot of people on the council. The no Facebook, as you guys should know, it's ran by my wife. The Sugar City everything is ran by my wife. She started that page. She started everything.
No, Cody, I understand that's run by your wife, but why doesn't Sugar City itself start up a page and start streaming from Facebook? I mean, at least that way it's transparent. I don't know about your community, but this community is kind of about the same size as yours. And there's a lot of elderly people that can't make it to the meetings that would like to actually watch the meeting as it happens.
Exactly.
And
I heard like to be able to comment. I mean, they can't make it in doesn't mean they don't have a voice.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. That's why I wanted to keep Zoom the whole time, because there is a lot of elderly that come on the Zoom. They have the Zoom link, and they come on and voice their opinion. Or
kudos
even
to you, Cody. Kudos to you, man, for transparency vote, man. Because yeah, you were the only one up there that voted for transparency the way I seen it, man, and I appreciate that.
And that's why, honestly, me and the wife talked about having a Facebook page so we can have transparency for the town.
Well, listen, Cody, I'm glad that you voted no, but we all know the truth, right? And the truth is they didn't like some clown like me coming up there, berating them for the 3 minutes that they deserve to get berated for. I mean,
yes, yeah, honestly, John, you're absolutely correct. They felt like it was an interruption.
Fowler and the city clerk, right, or minutes. What happened was they didn't like the fact that they weren't following the rules, and when I tried to explain the rules to them, neither the lawyer who should have been doing the legal advising wasn't doing it, nor the mayor was sitting there turning around and trying to make up the rules as she went along. All I was doing was pointing you guys in the right direction. And when in my last comment section, and matter of fact, right before the Christmas break, I didn't even speak when you guys voted on that crap. And I got to be honest with you, if I had known that was going to happen, I would have been up in arms. So should everybody else that was there. But again, it had nothing to do with the fact that they were being interrupted. It had to deal with the fact that they were being berated. That old timer that sits next to the attorney, he was upset because people were swearing. You kidding me? Your man was sitting there cussing out that woman who was complaining about her bill, right? 17 people in that town had bills that were screwed up by those girls in that office. 17, you being one of them. You don't think that those people have a right to complain and to literally dress her down along with the rest of them there? That's insane. And then they decide, because they don't like to hear me for 3 minutes, that I'm the issue, so let's shut it all down for everybody. That's absolutely, I'm just blown away.
That's it. I don't like what you're saying, John. I'm going to shut this down. All right, everybody, have a great night. No, I'm just kidding. I'm trying to calm John down. He gets on a roll.
Yeah,
I like John, and I take what he has to say as knowledge and a learning.
For Sugar City.
Yes, and I agree with you, John, 1,000%. Like it shouldn't have been. They should have took it as a learning experience. A lot of us that are on that board is brand new. Haven't been, I'm not a politician. I didn't get into this to be a politician. I got into this to help this town, to make this town better. And for my kids, I got 4 kids that, we planted roots here in this town. So yes, we want to make this town better. We bought a house in this town. We want to see this town thrive, like there's not much in this town. I know a couple of you guys been here, you seen it, Googled it, looked it up on Google Maps. There's not much here but a cafe and us that live here, So there's a lot of things that this town has potential for, and that's the big thing is what we're trying to do is bring awareness and bring people to this town to see like, hey, Sugar City used to be this, but we're also trying to make it great again.
Right.
Well,
and
I can tell you this
you
much.
and go ahead, John.
I'll say this, Cody. You may have stopped me from sitting on a Zoom, but you haven't stopped me from walking through the door. Just fair warning.
And I welcome you, John. Come on for our next meeting. I believe we have our next meeting this Wednesday coming up. We moved the meetings from 7 p.m. to 6 p.m. I encourage you to come.
That was another question. What happened to that meeting the other night, man? It got shut down like 2 hours prior to. Like, can we know why it was shut down?
So me and the wife, we had some family obligations we had to handle. So I wasn't going to be there. So it wasn't going to be on Facebook, right? Well, there is another member that is sick, I guess. And then you guys know we're already too short on the board, on the council. So if I didn't show, that other person didn't show that was sick, we didn't have a quorum.
Got you. Okay. There was just no explanation. A lot of people were wondering why. And in fact, yeah, we had a lot of people wondering why it wasn't open and what was going on. There was just no description. So we figured we'd try and get an explanation for the people of Sugar City and the surrounding area, because there was a few people that wanted to show up and they got there and the doors were locked.
Yeah. Yes. And that's what sucks is because like me and the wife are transparent on the Facebook. So we try to let everybody know beforehand. You know what I mean? But like you guys say, it's not a government page, so it's not an official site for the government to post on saying, we have a meeting, this meeting's canceled, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Right. And I noticed that yesterday or the day before when I was looking for the meeting and everything. I noticed that your website is way far behind, like way far behind. I thought I was pulling up a PDF for the current meeting and it was actually from exactly a year ago. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, the website hasn't been updated in a long, long time. But we do appreciate you and your wife, because that's how I knew it was canceled, was Facebook from that page, Sugar City Everything. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known. But yeah, people are contacting us. They're standing right at the door. They're like, it's locked up tight because they have no publications to inform the public. And I mean, there sure wasn't a 24-hour notice. So a lot of people might have just drove a long way, So,
yeah.
And again, it's not you, Cody. When we're not placing the blame on you, man. We appreciate what you're doing over there. I mean, don't envy your situation either, man. It's rough sailing. So,
well, and I was gonna say, you and Duane know each other, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Can I ask why you guys don't collaborate and work together? And maybe Duane, you give him some resources on helping him get this town back on track.
Because Duane's got a lot of he does got a lot going on there.
I went over there to help him with this small town project. I mean, we've collabed, and I've bent his ear quite a few times, and same with him. We have talked on other things, but it's a lot of different situations.
Like we just brought up the website, Cody. Your guys' website's like a year off whack, bro. Like Duane's
And that's the thing.
website.
I saw
Duane's
too is
website's
like,
really nice, and it's not only really nice, but it's up to date. Same with like their agenda. When they post their agenda, man, like
yeah,
that's a nice agenda, right?
yes,
Like people, there's a
yes.
lot of things that Rocky Ford is doing well that people need to take note of and get on board with. You know,
You
it's
know
not
what?
all bad. It's not all bad. You know.
You know what I really like, good GCM? I like the fact that the people can get the packet that the board members are looking at. I mean, I understand there's confidential information. Some of the papers aren't going to be in there, but for the most part, the papers are in there and you can look at what the board members are looking at on the subject. That is one thing I absolutely love.
Yeah, done a good job with that.
And that even too, you know, that's newer. You know, because one of the big things that I used to fight against is they would give us our packet on Monday and we would have, you know, meeting on Tuesday, and then same department would always sneak in these $50,000, $250,000 requests Tuesday morning, and then we were supposed to make a decision without any information. So that was for sure a big thing. As soon as I was voted in, that you know, we're gonna have the agendas to our council members no later than Thursday, and then now working to get them on the website. But yeah, even I'm saying that because even before, not just the public having the information, council was still not getting the information until a day before.
It's many
towns.
And
then, like I said, like we're making these $250,000 decisions, and
Duane,
most
and
of the time they
Aguilar-
were being made wrong.
In Aguilar, they do not. A lot of those board members do not get their packets until they sit their ass in the seat, brother. And that is exactly what is happening. They have no clue what they're talking about because they you know, very few will actually go chase down the packet, and maybe they'll get it the day before, 2 days before, possibly. But we see it commonly in a lot of towns. It's
that's,
they
you know,
don't,
it's,
and that's hard. How do you make an educated decision when you don't know?
and it, you know, even too, like we have something on the agenda, but you can only put so much, you know, in the agenda to keep it concise. And like Gary can attest, you know, Gary sits right next to the agenda packets back there. Like there's a lot of information. There is a lot of information in there that if you know, if you can only access it by coming in that night, you know, it's hard. It's going to be hard to stay informed or to know, you know, why a decision was made, you know, what the options were. But yeah, as much as possible, we're going to try to get on there. You know, one thing I would speak to is, you know, for Sugar City and for Cody and them, you know, he knows I'm always here as a resource, especially on the technology side. But you know, they have a lot going on.
They
you know,
they need a platform, Duane.
Slim capacity.
They need a platform, Duane. You need to, if I was to say you need to help them with anything that I think is going to help them in the future is, I mean, okay, if they don't want Zoom, so they can't have that type of interaction, that's one thing. But maybe helping them set up an official Facebook page that they could broadcast on. Helping them set up their cameras and such. You know, there's grants for that stuff. Like,
yeah, you know, they can do that, but the thing is, who's gonna administer it? And I think that's the problem. Like over there, they might have two. I don't know what their front office looks like, but normally for them it would probably be the town clerk. And you know, I think yeah, there's. So that's part of the problem is who's going to be able to continue managing it.
Well, let's be clear, because I mean, at least the website says it, and I do believe that they mentioned this in the meeting. Cody, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe you guys said that the meetings are recorded, and that if somebody wanted to get a flash drive of the meeting, they could. Is that correct?
Yes, every meeting is recorded, yes, and if you wanted to get a core request, you can get every meeting besides a, you know, Damn, I lost my train of thought. But yes, you could get a recording of the meeting.
So somebody's already doing video is the point. So
It's
somebody's
all on Zoom.
already
The
managing the
Zoom is
video.
recording it. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so
and like
so
last night when the meeting wasn't going to happen, if they had a official Facebook page, then they could have posted it there versus you and your wife having to try to cover for them. The point is
See,
like
that's the
they
thing.
should
Even
have
before
a
I got on
publication.
council, there was no awareness to the community. There was nothing brought to the community to know unless they posted it on the door
And
before.
this is what we're trying to help with. This is the point that
Yeah.
we're making. This is where we're trying to help. And like I said to Duane, if I could see one thing being helpful, it's going to be getting the transparency and the attention there. And again,
Well-
I can see it. A lot of people do not want to go there. It's no different than going and dealing with Nicole. People don't want to put themselves in situations like that. Okay.
Well, hold on
Some
a second.
people cannot control themselves. It's probably not good they put themselves in situations like that.
No,
you know?
but we can also take this another way. It doesn't necessarily need to be Facebook. Now, again, you guys are recording on something that's obviously a computer because you're running Zoom. I mean, you could run the Facebook off of the same thing. You don't even need to change anything. Like you've already got everything all set up. You just change the platform.
Right. But,
you could
we already made it clear
also
they
do
don't want
YouTube as
Zoom.
well, and that
They don't
records
want
everything.
Zoom because of the interaction, right? So we're gonna
Right, but they could do.
We're gonna favor them in stopping our interaction and say, okay, if they're not doing Zoom, well, what other options do they have? Because it's not like they don't have many other options. So, but none is not a good option. Trying to shut people out is never going to be the right way to go. Bless you, Duane.
And that's exactly why we created our page. Before I got on the council, we were shut out. There was times that we were on the agenda to speak and we wouldn't get our 3 minutes to speak with the old council, you know? So like, that's why we started our page so people can see it and be there, but not be there in the capacity.
And hey, that's what I'm saying. Like props to you, but that's not your responsibility. That's the town. That should be the town's responsibility, and the town should want to step up to that responsibility and let the public know what's happening. Like otherwise, they're just going to create rumors. Like they're going to make their own shit up if they don't know, man. Like I mean, really. So. And again, there's so many different platforms. I mean, even just like this, YouTube, people want to see it and they want to see it in real time. They want to know what's going on. And when people want to be informed, it's kind of shitty to stop them from that, you know?
And so, just like earlier when you guys were saying, when Duane said it's like the 4 same people on the council, right? That's the same thing with us. It's, you know, in our county, you know, my wife's on the library board. I'm on the fire department. It's the same people that want to be involved is the same people that show up to the meetings. So we get like 5 people that show up to the meetings. So we figured, you know, we started with the Facebook page. Maybe it'll get more people involved. Maybe it'll get outsiders.
Your Facebook page
on it. You know what I
your
mean?
Facebook page, Cody, had like 10 or 15 folks in there last time I was in there. Okay. Yeah. So there is interest. That's 15 people that weren't in the room or weren't willing to be in the room that was paying attention. So again, why don't we push the town to do what's right? Take the burden off your shoulders. I mean, hell, if you want to stream the meeting, that's your choice, but they should have to. Okay. I mean, that's the way I see it. If they want to do good, if they want to do that and continue, if they want to hide dirty deeds and shit, then yeah, the best way is to shut the public out and think they're not going to find nothing out, right? They're going to find out. They're always going to find out, bro.
And that's the thing is what sucks about our thing is we don't have enough people to do this. You know, we got 2 clerks in the office, and they already are pulled in different directions, answering phones. Customers come in. We got a trash business as well as attached to our Sugar City. You know, it's a Sugar City disposal, so they got to answer the phones for that. You know, and they get pulled different ways. So having them do a Facebook page and, you know, having them do other multiple things is just, it's far-fetched for these ladies to do because it's it's a struggle as is. You know what I mean? And this little town we have, it's a struggle.
Somebody on the council could most definitely do that and take up that responsibility themselves. Like say in your position, you know, say you decide, hey, I'll run the city's Facebook page. It has to be an official city page, right? Okay, it has to be an official page for the city. If it doesn't matter if you're running it or Gary's running it or you and Gary and Cindy, all three of you are doing it. It's a responsibility that can be spread amongst multiple people as long as you're coordinated in what you're doing and making sure you're getting that information out there. As far as the video goes, like say the Facebook, I mean, it's not hard to click the live button. You know how that works, bro. Like if the city had their official page live, then that's what I'm talking about. And again, that's something that, hey, maybe then you wouldn't have to do yours because then you're using the official city's page set up. You're just hitting the live button and doing your thing, right? Or somebody else could do that. Because again, like you don't need to be paid for that. It's not. I mean, it's something that somebody could just step up and do until it could be done a different way, I would say.
And you can change admins whenever you want. So
yeah.
as administration changes through, it can go off to somebody else.
Right. Understand.
That's just my recommendation.
It could also be an issue. I don't know if you guys noticed Los Animas, but they've went through like 3 Facebook pages in the last 3 years because the admins were the mayors and the mayors ran off and took their ball and went home. And so there's also that piece too.
It happens. And sometimes you have to rebuild back the page, but the people that pay attention come back. You know what I mean? We seen the Trinidad Police Department get hacked and lose their page multiple times. So like, yeah, I mean, things happen, but I just think it's a step in the right direction for us to be able to go see an official page similar to what Cody and his wife are already doing, but official, right? Like, and again, however many people that takes, it can't be that big of a burden. I mean, I run a Facebook page. It doesn't take that much of my time to make sure I get the information out there that I need to for the day. Nice place to post the agendas, a nice place to post a meeting, a nice place to have questions answered. And maybe that alleviates some of the issues that the ladies have in the office because, you know, that puts it on somebody else who may have the time. Just saying. I mean, obviously that's taking on more as council to do something like that. But in the long run, believe me, from experience, you're going to make it easier on yourself. Because, I mean, stopping the Zoom and not publishing it, I think you're just going to run into more issues than not. You know, like I say, people, you have people's attention right now. $500,000 missing. It is big talk. I mean, everybody's talking about it. Let's
talk about that for a minute. So 500,000 that was missing. That was before we came on the council.
Yes, sir.
So I want to spit that out there,
yes, sir,
real quick. So that 500,000 was 2 councils ago. So the old mayor that was 2 councils ago is my neighbor, and we speak on the daily, you know. And yes, there was 500,000 when he left. And the last council, I could blatantly say that it was no money management at all. The last clerk didn't know how to take care of finances. Everything went to the general fund. Like I said before, we have a Sugar City disposal, which should have its own account. It should be on its own. Well, that's not how it goes. The people pay for their trash. It comes into the general account. So they think, oh, we got all this money, let's just spend it. You see what I'm saying? So that 500,000 they thought was just for the town for general fund, and they spent it on reckless stuff, if you want to ask me. And I hope you guys do quarter requests for where this money went and where it's at and how our money finances are. Because honestly, my first week as a council member coming in, we were negative $800 trying to figure out where we can pay payroll at to these people.
Well,
And
I'll tell you, Cody, that me, John, and good citizen Duane, so you're not feeling left out. We've done the same thing to Sugar City. We have berated them with core request after core request after core request after core request after core request. I tell you what, if we really wanted to, and if we were those type of people, we'd pretty much own Sugar City at this point in time, because probably one or two of them have been answered, Cody. Like, I'll be honest with you, not many have been answered through Sugar City, and we've had a lot of resistance.
As a matter of fact, you remember how you and I were chatting the night that you were muted on the Zoom, and they blocked me from speaking with you, and the mayor said to send her that screenshot that I had showing that I was blocked talking to you. Well, I sent that to her, and then in the same day I sent a core request. I still haven't gotten a response to it. So that tells you where you're at.
yeah, exactly, on the bottom of the totem pole. You know what
I
I
don't
mean?
like
Like,
I don't like that lady. That personally, I don't like her. From what I've seen of her, I don't like her.
No, it's not
That's
that
my
you're on the
personal
bottom of the
opinion on
totem
her.
pole. No, it's
Cody,
not that
I
you're on.
like you, man. I see you're trying. I don't see that from her. And in the fact that she wasn't elected, it just rubs me the wrong way with her.
And
I,
I'm going to
I,
say,
I just, the way I've seen her act is, it's just too much. And like I say, hey, she definitely does not want criticism. John give her just a
Duane,
little
I
taste of
think
criticism, and she wine babied right up. So,
Duane, I think you'll like this because I will say this. Nicole doesn't hold a candle to the mayor of Sugar City. The mayor of Sugar City would make Nicole look like a choir girl. Seriously. That woman was sitting there. She was cussing at somebody who had a legitimate complaint about a water bill where they shut her off. She swore at her. She trespassed her from the city hall. I mean, that woman is just out of control out there. You want to talk about some craziness going on. That woman makes Nicole look like a choir girl. So I guess the takeaway from this is, for everyone that's one person that we think is bad, somebody out there can make them look better, because
well,
there's always somebody worse.
as being the mayor for Sugar City, she has access to all documents, right? You think maybe she'd know something about the budget? When I've seen anything about money brought up, she's kind of acts like she's clueless or something. But yet, for her real job, she's a treasurer. Like, something doesn't add up there to me either. So I don't know about that. I don't know about that lady. I really don't. I don't know. Maybe if I met her face to face, it'd be a little different. But so far from what I've seen from that lady, I'm not impressed. I personally think that you'd be a lot further along if Cody was mayor. I mean, I mean, you're here, Cody. That says a lot, brother. I'm just saying. Same about you, Duane. You're here. That means that you guys are willing to talk, willing to be transparent. You know, so that and
Can I
people are going
ask?
to look at this show and take it, the same way as I'm taking that mayor. They're going to look at it and they're going to form their own opinion, and that's what it's about.
Well, can I ask, Duane, would you think anybody else on the council would be willing to come up on the show and give their opinions on how to make Rocky Ford better, as well as Cody after Duane? Do you think anybody on the board there would be willing to come up and possibly work together, get their opinions out there that they don't think that they could probably get out in the council meetings?
Yeah, for us, I would say for sure. And then there's one that I would even almost want to invite, and it's one that almost a lot of times has the opposite viewpoint on things than me. But yeah, I think it'd be great, and it's gonna help. It's gonna help just knowing the right answers being asked. I think that, the right answers being asked, and the more people there are, I guess, and also just the right answers on those, the different perspectives. So like I said, I gave my disclaimer that I'm speaking from my opinion, and my opinion is different than the other 6 people I sit up there with. So yeah, it would be really good. One of the things that we do have over here, that's I think really great. Maybe could be one of our council members, Councilman Martinez. He hosts a fireside chat, and it's going to be coming up this Monday. He usually does it every Monday before the first Tuesday meeting, and it's just a open space for people to come in and talk. And that you see how public comment works. It's unilateral, so it's a one direction. In that space, in that fireside chat, and I used to do cafecitos before. It's just kind of open conversation, so you can actually.
I like Nick just because of that, right? Because he does that fireside chat. That I respect him for that. And we've ribbed him a little bit. We've busted his balls some, and he's handled it pretty fairly well. So I like him. I mean, again, I don't think anybody's probably a professional politician, but he's done all right.
And can I pop in there real quick?
Sure.
So Nick is a perfect example. Robert's also another perfect example in Rocky Ford anyway. Once you get on council, it's different than it being a citizen and coming up and complaining or whatever. And I really like Duane's what'd you call them, cafecitos? And again, it's a very neutral place for citizens to come in, and like Duane said, you can talk, you can talk person to person, and it's there has been a time or two. There's been a little bit of heat there, but nothing much. But I think those are excellent ways to get the citizens in there, and I think Sugar City. I know a lot of people over there in Sugar City, and they're talkers, and that'd be an excellent thing. Go ahead, Duane.
Jump in there because yeah, so I used to do cafecitos, just morning chat, first and third Fridays, and I did them for, I don't remember if it was about a year. It was a few months, but those stopped because our former mayor, our poor former mayor, demanded that those stop, even to the extent of telling our city attorney to tell me that I had to stop them because they weren't authorized by council, which I, of course, said you're full of shit because, this is a space for me to connect with constituents. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, good. Glad you did.
Our poor old former mayor.
So, and like Duane said, I mean, it's a lot of people don't like it, and I know in the past, especially with Duane's, a lot of the council people, a lot of the guys, people in the city didn't like it. But I think Duane will attest that there's lots of good ideas come up in those meetings, and then again, I'll say it again, it's neutral, and for the most part, and it does give that guy that when he gets up in front of the council on council nights, that's got a dry mouth and can't think of what he's going to say, he can talk in those meetings. You're sitting down there, you're just kind of chit chatting, and it's an excellent. I think it's an excellent opportunity. And then Cody, if you can get anything, of course, with Duane's was in the morning. I don't know what the answer is. A lot of older people probably like the mornings better. A lot of younger people they get off work and it's an evening thing for them. So that's one thing to consider for sure. And I also want to put out there that as a radio station, we have TTO, and I know I've extended to Duane and Joe Ayala in La Junta. All you guys, you're all more than welcome. Bring some council members. Bring a council member with you. I know there's sunshine laws you got to stay keep track of or whatever, but come on in and it's another just kind of something to get like Klein used to come in after every council meeting, and he used to just kind of go over the high points of the council meeting, and callers would call in, and if they had a question, then he would be able to answer it fairly easily. And again, that is open to all you guys. It's sheriff's department, mayors, managers, council people, whoever. Just let us know, and we'll make a plan and get you guys put on.
That's awesome. Cody, how about you? Do you think anybody else would be willing to come up, give their opinions on what could help Sugar City?
I can't really speak for anybody else, but as you can see in the council meetings, there's a lot of older people on the that sit around the table. And we lost 2 people already, so it's hard to get people involved and just being attendance in the damn meetings, so it kind of sucks. So I could say like I said, I can't speak for anybody else, but I will attend anything, and I appreciate Gary opening his radio station and you guys opening your YouTube and all that. And I really don't know on that question. Honestly, I can't speak for anybody else.
That's understandable. I was just wondering. I mean, those people better than I do, just like Duane knows all the rest of the people better than I do. And again, this is more to educate the public more on who's running the town and what their opinions are and how they plan on fixing things as well.
And we're trying to help both sides, man. Both sides. Right. We're trying to work with both sides. Sometimes we even end up in a mediating position, because we get it from both ends. I mean, we have a lot of people reaching out to us every single day from your guys' area. A lot. I mean, it's surprising to me how many, and we have to weed through everything, we just want to try to make it better. We might have crude ways in some aspects, but we're just pointing out the obvious to most people, I think, usually.
Yeah, and I'll say, just with that, keep an open ear, or just think for yourself, and which I trust everyone here does. It seems like these are the agitators here. These are the ones who question what the rules are and what people say it has to be. So yeah, with that, just think for yourself on that. Like I said, I know most of the people that reach out to you about me are the ones who want to see me fail, who are the ones who are working against what we're trying to do in improving.
Like I said, Duane, I have both. I have people reaching out that don't like you, and I have people that are reaching out that do like you, brother. Like I get both sides. So and that happens pretty much everywhere, and that's for us to sort through and see what's what with, and come up to our conclusions from there. But a lot of times what we'll do is, we start investigating. That's when we start putting in requests. That's when we request this, we request that. And as we go, we test the system, and sadly, most of the systems are broken. Some worse than others, man. I mean, it is what it is. The point is to make it as user friendly to the general public as possible. I mean, somewhere along the way, the government has stopped fearing its people, and to me, that's where a lot of the issue lies, right? Like, and then when I hear you say something and I take it as, if you don't like what I say, run away, it's like, well, to me, that don't help the problem, but as we had our long discussion on that already, but as an example, right? Like, so I'm not always right. Say, I hear things one way.
Doing it, kind of look at the board level. So either trustee or council, and kind of pay attention there, because like we are not a strong mayor. There's only a few of them in the state. We don't run the day-to-day. We make the policies, the rules, and we say how much money goes for all those. But as far as making stuff happen, as far as the day to day, that's administration. And I think that's a challenge, because we can keep saying that it needs to be improved, and if it doesn't change, the only person that we can hold responsible as a council is our city manager, and everybody beneath our city manager. It's hard. And so don't, what I'll say is, don't just look at the board of trustees or the city council. Look at the administration, because that's who fulfills your core request. That's who is supposed to do, X, Y, and Z on a day to day. And, that's what frustrates me, because if I had my way and if I can change things, there's a lot of things that would have been changed 3 years ago. Gary knows where I was.
I know.
So our former city manager, that was a problem. That was something a bunch of people got up and spoke high praises of, trying to protect them. And as soon as they left, all those people turned and started blaming everything on the former city manager. It's hard. It's frustrating, because again, all we can do is set municipal code, that law, that policy, and hand it over and say, okay, now you need to implement this. We have we're going to be talking about our dormant utility fee this upcoming council meeting. I didn't know we had one, and it looks like one passed in February of 2020. It's never been implemented. We haven't collected one penny, and we're going to review it. We're going to talk about it again. We're going to say, hey, does anything in this need to be updated? If not, then it's on the books, but it's still on administration to make it happen. And if it doesn't, which that's kind of how it's worked, a lot of things haven't changed, haven't happened. I get to
you got to put that core to vote too. Check into that. You'll see what I'm talking about. It went up to $44, I believe. So check into that. I think you guys are still at 38, but you're gonna have to pass that. A lot of towns that we deal with have already passed it as soon as they could, actually. I don't mind telling you, because really, honestly, those fees don't affect us. We operate around those fees for the most part. Like I say, just being press alone, there's an exemption in there for the fees. So but that's money you guys could be recouping, I guess you could say. I mean, $44 an hour, shit, but that's what the state went to. So that's their recommendations now.
First hour is free.
That's how we skirt a lot of the fees, right? Is we don't request 10 days worth of work all in one request. We do many requests. There's ways, obviously, we know it like the back of our hand, but for you guys, that could help a little bit. So I'm not saying you guys are in the financial dire straits as a lot of the towns we're dealing with in Rocky Ford, but again, hey, it's the state standard. We can't really argue that. So just something that it was probably overlooked. We caught it just because in our request, we know what they tried to charge us while they were trying to overcharge us. See, they shouldn't have to overcharge us if they do it right. So, yeah. And we're going to continue to make the requests. I mean, there's plenty of things we want to know about. So, and we encourage everybody out there to make requests as well, right? Like, if you guys need help, just get a hold of us. We'll point you in the right direction. The citizens, like Duane mentioned earlier, some citizens just don't know the process. I didn't know the process. I had to learn, And at first I was kind of overwhelmed by the process. And then I realized, like, it really is pretty simple. Cora states exactly what it does, and it says exactly what it means. So, yeah, once you figure that out, then it's quite easy. Then it's just getting the governments to do right. I mean, we get rejected requests, like I don't even know how many a week, for one reason or another. And obviously we have to, a lot of times, John Denicola especially, he'll have to go back with here, CRS, this, or this, or, you know, and explain it to him. And Rocky Ford was one of those. Like we were talking about earlier when we requested body cam and everything like that existed, you know, they were just trying to charge wrong. So it's everywhere there. And honestly, the reason why I think it is because enough people aren't doing their duty and participating, right? Like honestly, these office ladies that are doing our core requests should know it as well as I do, at least. Like it's part of their job description, not mine. This is my hobby. So, I mean, if they did it more often, obviously they would know more. And so I blame that on the lack of the citizens' participation in requesting information that's rightfully theirs, right? So, and again, it's just a learning process, and we appreciate you guys coming on here and working with us. You know, we do. It's like I say, it's the only way it's going to get fixed. We can't ignore it. So, Phoenix, good to see you. Now, I mean, we have a lot of people that pay attention to us, you know. So it's a double-edged sword, of course, but you know, with power comes great responsibility, right? So, you know, we're kind of in that same boat, guys. You know, we have to get the information out there as best as we can. We're not always right. We do our best. You know, sometimes we're limited by what information we can receive. Like that's what we're dealing with John and Duane button heads right now with the Rocky Ford Police Department, because hey, we're just trying to see, you know, but we weren't able to. So from there, we have to then form our own judgment because we didn't get to see the evidence. So those type of cases happen, you know, like it's inevitable. Sometimes we just can't get the information. It happens. So, and Gary, we appreciate you, man, doing your show over there on Facebook. You know, you get a lot of people in and out of there participating. I can tell a lot of them don't like the political talk, but a lot of them still listen.
Yeah, and so you know, it's one of those things you got to kind of put up something a little bit for everybody. But I do like to see it when Duane comes on, and I know Duane's been kind of quiet here lately, and I can definitely understand. So, yeah. And again, anybody who wants to come on, if you guys want to bring up a subject, bring it up, and we'll definitely somebody's gonna be there to talk about it. I'll guarantee you.
Yeah, and so for all of our viewers, Gary Reed on Facebook, he does a morning show pretty well Monday through Friday. While he's doing his radio show, he's a multitasker.
7 a.m. Yeah, I'm not a very good multitasker either, but
it's comical. It's comical though. We have some good laughs over there, and we get a lot of information out. So, and you're pretty consistent. That's where we lack. We don't have like a set show time. Our people know we just go when we go.
Yeah.
So with you, it's nice that you're consistent with that, and people know where to find you. It's sad that Rocky Ford employees cannot watch you, but there's so much good information on there, they might be learning something if they was listening.
Yeah. And of course, I don't know. I'm kind of like, I'm sure Duane thinks the same thing. That, you know, part of the time you want these guys working, right? I mean, you don't want them, just hanging out on their phone for sure for an hour
and I agree.
Hey,
I don't want my workers to be hanging out on their phone. Listening is one thing. Go ahead, John.
What I'm going to be is that background noise, and somebody say to their working companion, "What did he say? Did he really say that?"
Yeah, that's good. That's. I think that's good. Yeah.
Kinetic Customs. I don't know if John, you're referring to that one, but I don't know if you can drop the a bill name or something. But I don't know. I haven't seen anything about BB guns. I think he was asking our opinion on proposed legislation banning all semi-automatic weapons and BB guns and air guns in Colorado. He's from Wyoming. I don't know.
You know,
we
Gary,
follow a long state level, but it's more we pay attention to things that are going to really impact the city and local control. So, we kind of pay attention more to those things if they're going to try to force down, zoning requirements or things like that on us. But no, it really haven't paid attention to anything on BB guns.
He's looking for it. John, did you have any other?
Anything?
John, did you have any other questions for anybody on panel?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if he was trying to comment or not. He's chopping a little bit. So Gary, speaking of those folks listening, I got one criticism for you.
Yep, let's hear it.
You ready?
It's my turn.
Yeah. So when you're reading the comments in your head, just read them out loud, brother. Just read them out loud, because you're already responding, and a lot of the people like that are just listening.
Actually had a question.
That they know what you're responding to. Because otherwise, if we're just looking in the comments, we know. But those people at work can't just look at the comments; they can only listen.
Right.
So hey, just a tip: do as you want. It's your show. I'm just saying.
Believe me, if
I get stuck listening a lot and I can't see the chat, and so I'm like, what's he responding to? And I have to go look.
And if my brain worked fast enough, then it would be a lot easier. But to look at the Facebook screen and start reading comments, I get lost. And then guess what? I have overshot my speaking time on the radio. So that's why.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what happened. It was like I lost internet.
Join the crowd.
Then happen.
Sorry, John. Go ahead.
Today.
So yeah, I guess they were talking about the semi-automatic stuff. I mean, there's a bunch of cases that are supposed to be going up to SCOTUS anyway. They're supposed to help deal with that situation. One of them is the Snopes case that they got going up there. Out of Baltimore, Maryland. Also, the assault weapons ban in Illinois is another case that they're talking about getting the writ of certiorari for. So, to be honest with you, Colorado can do what they're going to do. A bill was submitted this morning for HR 38, which is the national reciprocity. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things that are going on in the different courts, federal courts, all over the place. And I think between the Bruin, the Cargill decision, and other decisions, I think that they're going to have a hard time trying to enforce any of it.
There we go. There's the answer to Kinetic's question.
Likely right. I don't think they're gonna be able to force that shit. Marissa, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. We've got Cody Banks from Sugar City, and we've got Mayor Duane from Rocky Ford up here. We've just been going over a bunch of questions. We've had a great show.
We're at 3 hours.
Any questions you'd like before we wrap up? You guys feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll try to get them up here.
Well, let's.
And also, just kind of a. Oh, now go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say let's try to we're going to cut it here in about 3 hours, so we got about 8 minutes. So how about instead of some questions, maybe we can hold that off to another show. How about we do some outros? Maybe Duane, is there anything else that you might want to cover really quick? I mean, really quick, before you leave today?
No, I don't. Yeah, just one of the things I tell people is you have a direct line of communication to me. I do share my number freely, my email, and I do that because I hope that people will use it, and I don't do it just as I don't do it without meaning it. I do it intentionally. So with that, like, I want anyone to know, like, if you have a question that concerns me, or that you believe that I am a good source of information on, like, please reach out to me. Because one thing that I often see is people will maybe just go with their question unanswered, and then try to claim that no one is providing an answer for them, or no one's providing them information, when it's like, I can check my call logs or my emails and or my Facebook. Like, I'm active everywhere, or out there at all of everything that's going on out there. I sit on the bench on Main Street when it's warm, and reach out. So I'm not just saying it, and then when you actually do it, I'm like ignoring people, or pretending I'm busy.
Well, hey, help your boy. Help your boy out over there in Sugar City. Get him a publication set up, man. That would be awesome. Hey, and I'm not saying Cody lacks the knowledge to do it, but maybe just the idea wasn't there. Again, as long as there's an official page, you guys have a great page over there in Rocky Ford. You guys do Facebook and Zoom. I mean, that's 2 thumbs up for me, There's technical difficulties from time to time. That's anywhere, right? But I mean, you guys are at least showing good faith. You're trying. So, whereas I see Sugar City going the opposite direction by trying to get away from that. I think we can fix that before it becomes an issue. Because I know personally, I'm going to make a huge problem of it. You know what I mean? When I can't see what's going on, then I'm going to make those 2 ladies in the office work overtime, because I'm going to have everything that I wanted to know from the meeting put into a Quora request, and I'm going to make them respond to them all week long. This is not going to be good. Like, they should just let us know what's going on, And I'd like to say, Duane, I know you do good with tech stuff. So, and I know you and Cody you guys are boys. So maybe you guys could, work with that a little bit and see because like say, you guys have your Rocky Ford page. It's helpful for many different things. And it's not super hard to run. It really ain't.
No, it's not. Cody, how about you, buddy? Right, Cody, how about you? We got a few minutes left. Do you got anything you want to add?
I would just say that I'll take all the help I can get right now, and like I've always said, pray for Sugar City, make Sugar City great, So that's what my thing is right now, is I'm pushing for that. And wherever anybody sees, however where it's going, it's a bigger picture. So let me just put it that way, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm on it tooth and nail to make this place better and make it great to everybody in this town, old, young, middle age. It doesn't matter. I'm trying to do what's right for this town. So that's all I gotta say. Make Sugar City great.
Hey, we see it. I appreciate it, Cody. We do see it, man. I see you trying, bro.
We do. We appreciate it, but you forgot one thing, Cody. You know what
What's
that is? Go Wildcats. All right. Gary. Gary, how about you? You got anything to add? And don't forget the shameless plugs. Please, Gary, just add something in some shameless plugs, okay?
I'm going to plug myself again, and Cody and Duane both. You guys want to come on? I'm actually doing my show now from my house for a while, so but you're more than welcome to come to my house. So again, if you guys want to get your any kind of information you want out there, I don't care if it's special events, Santa Claus, whatever. Just if you let me know, I'll try to get the information out, as far ahead as possible, so that the more people that hear it, the more people may start attending. Hopefully, is what my goal is. So again, Thunder Country 92.1. That's where I am, and then we also have Lightning 1400 on the AM. So, that's basically where our talk show mostly happen is on the AM. So,
Gary Reed on Facebook.
So
yeah,
you guys
Gary
are more
Reed
welcome
on
to come
Facebook.
Oh yeah, Gary Reed on Facebook. So I forgot.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's all I have to say. Just if there's anything that I can do to help you guys along, and that's anybody. I don't care if it's Lahana or whatever. I mean, this is a Valley station, so we'll do whatever we can do to help out the communities as much as possible.
That's it.
That's it. That's awesome. Hey, Lori, if you're still there, do you have anything nice to add, or do you just want to say goodbye?
I'm surprised she's still awake.
I think I used my 100,000 words for today, so we'll just wait till Monday and we'll get back on the air and we'll see how Gary's show goes on Monday. And I wish everybody a good, safe weekend. And
You are hard to hear, Lori. You got to get closer to your microphone. Start over.
I'm right here on it. I don't know, maybe I'm too close to my speaker. No, I just wanted to say that, I appreciate everybody coming forward, and, it's good to have the communication regardless, whether we agree or not. It opens the doors, it gives another opinion, and so good can come of it.
That's awesome. Thank you, Lori. I greatly appreciate you coming up tonight. John, last but not least, the very best. What's going on, man? Do you have anything nice to add, or you just want to rip into him a little bit? No, I'm just kidding. What do you got for us, John?
Look, listen, coming into the Lion's Den like Cody and Duane did takes a lot of courage, and I will give them that credit. I mean, listen, a lot of people wouldn't bother coming here thinking they were going to get beat up. I'm glad that Duane is making changes with the Cora. I'm ecstatic about it, to be honest with you. I think we'll agree to disagree about some of the issues that we're having at the police department. I'm definitely going to be sending him the emails as far as, the requests that were made that haven't been answered. I know that at least maybe one of them, him and I are going to disagree on, which is the Gobin request, but that's okay. Something's better than nothing, I think. With Cody, my intent was never to have them shut the Zoom down. And I want to make that crystal clear. That was not my intent. My intent was to try and get them to understand that when you have a mayor that's swearing at people, that she should expect the same in return. It's the respect thing. The people that put her where she is, whether she was assigned to that seat or not, she represents them. And when you talk to people and you decide to trespass people, I'm sorry, you're not going to get respect. You're going to get exactly what you give. So, again, I apologize to the people of Sugar City because that was not my intent. I think that there are a few things that need to be dealt with in Rockyford, like Duane said, and it's a learning curve for everybody, for us, for them, everybody. And I think that moving forward, hopefully we can kind of work together and try and figure it out. At the end of the day, these are the people that are supposed to be working for us. And thankfully, they had enough courage to come here and talk with us and try and work through these things. So I would have to say that that's a bonus in my book.
Awesome. Yeah. Well said. Well said.
Well, all and right. Everybody in the chat, we appreciate all you guys, all those thumbs up,
Don't forget, we're live on both channels. If you're on You Peoples, go over to Good Citizens. If you're on Good Citizens, go over to You Peoples. Don't forget to hit that like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Gentlemen, lady, thank you again so much for coming up. We greatly appreciate all of you for coming up and having a
if you're watching
logical
back or you
conversation.
just caught the end, go back to the beginning. It was a great show. Appreciate all you guys.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to stay in the backstage, please stay. Otherwise, we're gonna do the outro. And have a nice night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again for coming up, and we will see you again.
Whoa, the clock's ticking.
Hey, tell me, Gary, can we play this on the
But
radio?
it ain't no friend.
Oh, you already left.
With every step you're taking, is this the beginning?
All right.
Or the
Good night, everybody.
No. I can see you people moving around. I can see you people looking down. Yeah. With all your stiff little fingers keeping score, you ain't got nothing to cling to anymore. You lost your feet while spinning round, running circles on hollow ground. All your plans seem to hit the floor with all the losses that you take, wondering why you